Chapter 254. Everyone, be careful. Seeing that Qin Zhen was unable to take down this thief by himself, Yuan He could no longer stand by and watch. In the next moment, a vast wave of genuine qi surged from his body, directly transforming into a majestic sea. In the sea, waves roared, and a large fish with a pair of wings on its back swam rapidly in the sea. The winning fish possessed the Kuan Peng bloodline. When Yuan He was in the blood transformation realm, he was ambitious and wanted to cultivate the black hole scripture to awaken the Kuan Peng bloodline. However, due to his limited talent, he could only awaken the Kuan Peng bloodline. Later, he was suppressed by the other disciples of the sect, and his cultivation in the true qi and spirit refining realms were not satisfactory. Even though his status gradually improved and he obtained more resources, when he was in the prominent divine stage, he could only manifest the winning fish saint physique, which was of little value in the inland. Although the winning fish saint physique was of little value, a saint physique was still a saint physique. No matter how weak a saint physique was, it was not something a prominent divine stage cultivator could easily contend against. As the Origin River saint physique manifested, the figure of the winning fish actually directly turned into a huge wave of true qi, directly surging towards Qing Su, who was dodging rapidly. Rolling wave. Waves of true qi whistled out, completely engulfing Qing Su in an overwhelming manner. It caused his speed to plummet by several times. Void shackle. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Qin Zhen's true qi surged into the heavenly Peng's shadow, causing it to let out a loud cry. The space 100 meters around Qing Su seemed to freeze with this long cry. Anyone who dares to commit murder in my Hunyuan Heaven sect will only have one ending, and that is death. The heavenly Peng sword wings burst out and thousands of sword lights finally tore apart the sword qi seal formed by the divine sword in Tsing Hui's hand and slashed at his body. Bang! 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 Sparks sputtered. Hundreds and thousands of sword lights slashed at Tsing Hui's body like a storm. Dazzling sparks burst out from the dragon-shaped gang energy that appeared on the surface of Tsing Hui's body, as if they were slashing at a refined gold armor. Although Tsing Hui's body was constantly pushed back by the sword light, and his internal organs were almost shattered by the heavenly rock sword wings, he still managed to hold on. This was also the reason why his physical body had been released 4 times and had been tempered by the dragon's beard root. His physical body was far stronger than ordinary Green Netherworld Realm experts. If it were other Green Netherworld Realm experts, even if they were given a level 10 armor, the vibrating force from the heavenly rock sword wings would still be enough to shatter their internal organs and shake them to death. Tsing Hui spat out a mouthful of blood. Relying on his recovery ability that had reached the Type 6 realm, he forced himself to endure the internal injuries. He then gasped for breath, trying to rouse himself. Flowing fire. His genuine qi burst out, and the flowing fire sword under his feet shot out a dazzling light. At the same time, he raised the level 9 divine weapon in his hand. Instead of blocking the heavenly rock sword wings, he slashed out with his sword. Like splitting the river and splitting the sea, he cut apart the wave formed by Yuanhe's Yu's bloodline. Taking advantage of this gap, the flying sword burst out at full speed and rushed out of the blockade of this huge wave. Good. Below, Lord Zhenhai and the others who had followed Tsing Hui couldn't help but shout excitedly. Qin Zhen and Yuan He's expressions were even more solemn. After escaping from the joint attack range of Qin Zhen and Yuan He, Tsing Hui no longer confronted the 2 prominent divine stage experts head-on. Relying on the speed of the level 9 flying fire sword and the sharpness of the level 9 divine sword, he whizzed around the 2 and continuously attacked. Even though Qin Zhen's heavenly rock sword wings followed closely behind Tsing Hui and tried to envelop him, without exception, he used the advantage of his high speed to avoid them. The flying sword under his feet is at least level 8, and it's very likely to be upper level 8. Moreover, the armor and divine weapon on his body are all level 8 and above. Qin Zhen's eyes were filled with a trace of powerless anger. Armor, divine weapon, and upper level 8 flying sword. There's no doubt that he's from the Creation Mysterious sect. Even our Hunyuan Heaven sect only had 1 level 8 flying sword before joining the Sword Shadow sect. The Creation Mysterious sect really doesn't want to give up on destroying our Hunyuan Heaven sect and Jinwu religion. Yuan He's face was also filled with anger. Since he wants to die, we'll fulfill his wish. If I'm not wrong, although he blocked my heavenly rock sword wings with the help of the armor, he must be seriously injured. Let's join forces and kill him here. But don't forget that he hasn't revealed his saint body yet. Once he reveals his saint body, how can the two of us resist? Moreover, how much true chi do you have left after the fight just now? Yuan He's words caused the killing intent in Qin Zhen's heart to drop. Just now, I continuously activated the innate power of the heavenly rock sacred body, and my true chi consumption is quite serious. At most, in 3 more breaths, the power of the saint body will fade, and in 6 breaths, the saint body will completely dissipate. Qin Zhen's words made Yuan He's heart sink. It was true that the saint physique of a prominent divine expert possessed an incomparably terrifying battle prowess, but the duration was their biggest problem. Originally, with Qin Zhen's middle-stage prominent divine expert's saint physique, she wouldn't be so weak after manifesting her saint physique. However, the problem was that with the help of a rare treasure, she had forcefully manifested her saint physique to the extent of heavenly rock saint physique. I can still hold on for a while. Among the Jinwu religions group, the most honorable ones are Vice Sect Master Luo Rieo and Lai Weong. Luo Rieo and Lai Weong must not die in our Hunyuan Heaven sect's territory. If we protect them, the Creation Mysterious sect's plot to drive a wedge between us will collapse. You take these 2 people to the sect immediately. I've already sent a message to the sect's grand elders, and they will immediately come to join you. I'll bring up the rear for you. Senior brother Yuan He, be careful. Qin Zhen also made a prompt decision. This place was only 1,000 kilometers away from the Hunyuan Heaven sect. With her full strength and the speed of a grade 7 flying sword, it would take her half an hour to cross this distance. If the Hunyuan Heaven sect's grand elders were included, it would only take an incense stick's worth of time for them to officially meet up and become safe. Go. In order to preserve her true chi, Qin Zhen quickly withdrew her saint body and then grabbed Lai Wuyang and Luo Rieo, the 2 core members of the Jinwu religion. A flying sword instantly appeared under her feet, and she flew away at an incredible speed. Want to leave? Xing Hui, who was dodging Qin Zhen's heavenly rock sword wings, saw that Qin Zhen was actually planning to escape. It would have been fine if she had escaped by herself, but she had taken away his greatest target, Lai Wuyang. Why had Qing Su ambushed Lai Wuyang this time, even going as far as to go against 2 grand elders of the Hunyuan Heaven sect? Wasn't it because he wanted to capture Lai Wuyang and force her to hand over the 5th and 6th layers of the Great Sun Golden Crow art? If he let Qin Zhen take her away, then everything he had done would have been meaningless. Stay. Xing Hui roared, and the sword light under his feet whistled, like a stream of light shooting straight toward Qin Zhen's fleeing figure. Your opponent is me. Surge. Yuan He had been staring at Qing Su since a long time ago. When he saw him chase after Lai Wuyang and Luo Rieo, the tsunami condensed from true chi above his head immediately became even more powerful. It enveloped Qing Su's head like it was about to collapse the sky. Scram! Xing Hui roared. Compared to Qin Zhen, the power of Yuan He's divine physique was a bit weaker. The torrential tsunami that came crashing down only stopped him for a moment before he suddenly burst out with sword chi. Relying on the sharp edge of the 9th-level divine weapon, he completely tore apart the tsunami and broke out of the encirclement of the genuine chi waves. At the same time, he shouted at King Zhenhai, "Stop him for me!" King Zhenhai's heart shook. Prominent saint stage? He was definitely not a match for a prominent saint stage expert who had manifested a saint body. However, he didn't dare to disobey Xing Hui's order. Even if he knew that it was very likely that his life would be in danger, he still gritted his teeth and charged forward without hesitation. Using his divine art, he displayed the terrifying battle strength of an intermediate prominent saint stage expert. Ah! Seeing King Zhenhai suddenly charging over, Yuan He was furious at first, but then he seemed to have guessed something. The aura on that bastard's body isn't right. I don't feel any aura of a prominent saint expert on his body. The reason why he can be so strong to the point of being able to stand shoulder to shoulder with a prominent saint expert is because the bloodline he awakened is too strong. Divine rank astral energy. That's right, he must have cultivated divine grade astral energy, and with divine grade astral energy as his foundation and the divine art, coupled with the fact that he has a level 8 or even a level 9 divine weapon by his side, only then would he be able to fight so well with us. In other words, he's actually just a paper tiger that's strong on the outside but weak on the inside. Once the time limit of the divine art expires, facing us two prominent divine stage experts and the endless stream of experts from my sect, only death would await him. With this thought, Yuan He suddenly became excited. We know very well what kind of methods the create evolve mysterious sects grand elders and saint stage ancestors have. He doesn't dare to let such people come, so he can only send such a secret weapon to infiltrate our Hunyuan heavenly sect. If we can kill such a secret weapon, it will be a huge loss to the create evolve mysterious sect. He did not hesitate to send a message to Qin Zhen, who was fleeing. At the same time, Qin Zhen fled with Luo Rieo and Lai Wuyang. Moments later, Luo Rieo reacted and said to Qin Zhen, "Elder Qin Zhen, there's no need for us to flee in such a hurry. Although the Jin Wu religion did not send a grand elder to accompany us, this matter is of great importance. To ensure our safety, the religion has specially brought us some eternal blazing suns." Eternal blazing suns? How many? Qin Zhen naturally understood the power of the Jin Wu religion's eternal blazing suns. 10. The total of 10. It's enough to kill a saint stage expert. Great! Qin Zhen's face lit up with joy. Then, the identity token on her body lit up again. Apparently, she had received a message from Yuan He. After glancing at the message, she immediately waved her hand and said, "These bastards from the creation mystical sect are really audacious. Today, I will make them pay a heavy price. Let's go, we'll kill our way back." Chapter 255. Qin Zhen turned around and returned with Lai Wuyang and Luo Rieo, and they encountered Qing Su, who was pursuing them at the first possible moment. "I'll use my innate ability to restrict his movements. You take out the eternal blazing sun and kill him in one blow." Qin Zhen shouted in a low voice, and the phantom of the celestial rock sacred body appeared behind her again. It let out a loud and clear cry, and a circle of ripples spread out in the void, blocking Tsing Hui in the void. "Attack!" There was no need for Qin Zhen to shout. The moment Tsing Hui was blocked, Luo Rieo had already taken out an eternal blazing sun, and it shot toward Tsing Hui like a resplendent stream of light. Tsing Hui, who had used the flying sword flowing fire to break free from Qin Zhen's confinement, saw the eternal blazing sun flying toward him, and his expression changed. However, with the yang devouring bead and the level 9 armor on him, he wasn't too afraid. He just took out the yang devouring bead as he retreated. Rumble! The eternal blazing sun exploded in an instant, and for a moment, the dazzling flames mixed with a mighty and blazing torrent filled the void within a radius of a few thousand meters, tearing apart the clouds in this area. The endless light and heat were so intense that it was almost impossible to look straight at them. His aura didn't fall. That armor helped him block more than 90% of the explosion's power. Under the stimulation of the intense light, although Qin Zhen couldn't see the scene in the center of the eternal blazing sun, she could determine Tsing Hui's state of life through the aura on his body. She immediately shouted, "Quick! Continue! Continue!" Luo Rieo didn't dare to hesitate and took out the second eternal blazing sunday. In an instant, the light and heat that were faintly dissipating in the void within a radius of several thousand meters once again shone. A deafening explosion mixed with a blazing shockwave that shook the heavens and earth once again swept out. If it wasn't for the fact that everyone present had a cultivation of divine energy unison realm or above, just the energy shockwave formed by this explosion alone would have been enough to blow them several kilometers away. It's still not enough. Continue. Damn it, every eternal blazing sun was equivalent to a strategic resource of the Jin Wu religion. In the entire Jin Wu religion, there were less than 100 eternal blazing suns. Luo Rieo was naturally heartbroken that he had lost 2 eternal blazing suns in one go. But even though his heart ached, he also understood that the situation in front of him was related to their life and death. There was no room for hesitation. Therefore, when Qingjin felt that the enemy's aura had not dropped much, he had already thrown out the third eternal blazing Sunday. His aura has dropped, but it's not enough. This level isn't enough to kill him. Continue, rumble. 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 The eternal blazing suns, which contain the power to destroy heaven and earth, were constantly detonated. The terrifying temperature contained in the terrifying explosions rendered the void within a radius of several thousand meters into a lava purgatory. Even Qin Zhen and the others, who were several thousand meters away, could feel the sharp rise in the surrounding temperature. Compared to other places, the temperature here was already several dozen degrees higher than the outside world. All the trees and flowers on the ground had spontaneously combusted, and billowing smoke accompanied by the flames of the burning earth filled the area within a few dozen kilometers. He can't hold on any longer. He wants to run. He wants to escape. Chase after him and give him one or two more eternal blazing suns. It's enough to kill him completely. After another 3 eternal blazing suns were detonated, Qin Zhen's face finally revealed a look of surprise. He shouted and immediately led Luo Rieo and Lai Wuyang away from the core of the explosion and quickly chased after the enemy. At this moment, Xing Hui, who had been smashed by 6 eternal blazing suns, also felt as though he had been smashed silly. With the yang devouring bead and the armor on his body that had reached the 9th level, he originally thought that a mere eternal blazing sun would not be able to do anything to him. Therefore, when faced with Luo Rieo's eternal blazing sun, not only did he not retreat, he even thought of withstanding the explosive force of the eternal blazing sun, facing it head-on, and then capturing Lai Wuyang in one fell swoop. But he never expected that Luo Rieo would have so many eternal blazing suns in his hands. If one was not enough, he would use 2. If 2 were not enough, he would use 3. If 3 were not enough, he would use a 4th, 5th, and 6th. It seemed as though there was no end to it. The yang-devouring bead was already barely able to withstand the explosive force of the eternal blazing Sunday. After being smashed by several eternal blazing suns at the same time, its light immediately dimmed. When the 4th eternal blazing sun was smashed, the yang-devouring bead's endurance reached its limit and shattered with a loud bang. As for the 5th and 6th eternal blazing sun, he completely relied on the defense of the 9th level armor and his understanding of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique to resist. But even so, after being hit by 2 eternal blazing suns consecutively, the light of the 9th level armor still dimmed. It was estimated that if it was hit by another eternal blazing sun, it would immediately sink into depression. However, Xing Hui did not know how many eternal blazing suns Luo Rieo had. Under such circumstances, even though he was unwilling to let go of the opportunity to capture Lai Wuyang alive and force him to reveal the Great Sun Golden Crow technique, in the face of life and death, he could only turn around and flee as fast as he could. Rumble. Not long after he fled, the 7th eternal blazing sun had already exploded behind him. Endless light and heat waves once again engulfed his body completely. Even though this eternal blazing sun did not hit him directly, the shock waves and blazing heat contained within it still caused the already precarious 9th level armor to completely disappear into his body. The spirituality on it was almost completely scattered, and he would not be able to use it again in a short period of time. Fortunately, with the help of the explosive force, he spat out a mouthful of blood that instantly evaporated. At the same time, he also borrowed the flowing fire sword's ability to absorb the power of flames to escape from the blazing flames with a whistle, and quickly pulled apart the distance between himself and Qingjin, Luo Rieo, Lai Wuyang and the others. The Jin Wu religion has so many eternal blazing suns, but instead of keeping them to deal with the Create Evolve mysterious sect, they squandered them on me. Aren't they afraid that the Create Evolve mysterious sect will take advantage of the fact that they don't have any eternal blazing suns? Xing Hui's heart was filled with depression. It had to be said that ever since he came inland, apart from refining the roaming dragon blood transformation powder, nothing else had gone smoothly for him. Not only did he make an enemy of Bei Zhongguang, but he had also encountered two Hunyuan Heaven Sect Grand Elders when he came to ambush Lai Weong. After much difficulty, he had used delaying tactics to repel the two Grand Elders. The Jin Wu religion's Luo Rieo had also summoned 7 eternal blazing suns, which not only destroyed the Yang devouring bead, but also made him dizzy. Once Lai Weong escaped to the Jin Wu religion, it would be extremely difficult to snatch the 5th and 6th levels of the Great Sun Golden Crow art from her. Senior brother Yuan He, stop him. At this moment, a long roar suddenly sounded from behind. Yuan He, who had shaken off King Zhenhai, was sweeping up torrential waves and rushing over. If Tsing Hui continued to move forward, he would most likely fall into the waves formed by Yuan He's winning fish saint physique and be entangled by the layers of waves. Seeing this, Tsing Hui's expression changed slightly. In the next moment, his figure had already soared into the air. Borrowing the speed of the flowing fire sword, he was like a stream of light piercing through the sky, rushing straight into the void at full speed. Trying to escape? Qin Zhen, who was still some distance away from Tsing Hui, saw that Tsing Hui wanted to escape from the sky. Her eyes flashed, and her body erupted with true qi. It was as if she had cast a teleportation technique, instantly closing the distance between her and Tsing Hui by a full 3 kilometers. Black Hole Sutra Secret Art, Skyward Walk. Imprison. After widening the distance between herself and Tsing Hui, the heavenly rock shadow behind her suddenly stretched out, leaving her body and enveloping Tsing Hui's figure, causing the space 100 meters in front of Tsing Hui to completely freeze. Casting this kind of secret art took a great toll on Qin Zhen's body. She spat out a mouthful of blood, and her aura plummeted to the bottom. Quick! Eternal Blazing Sun. Use the Eternal Blazing Sun. Use 3 at the same time and kill him completely. The fall of such a top genius will definitely hurt the Create Evolve mysterious sect. Qin Zhen did not care about her own weakness at all, and immediately shouted at Luo Rieo beside her. Luo Rieo was also very good at seizing opportunities. Almost before Qin Zhen finished speaking, the remaining 3 eternal blazing suns in his hand had been cast out at the same time. They turned into 3 bright streams of light, fiercely bombarding the imprisoned Tsing Hui in the void. Break for me. Tsing Hui, who was imprisoned in the void, saw this scene and anxiously roared. He did not care about the damage to his meridians caused by the full eruption of his true qi, and poured all his power into the flowing fire sword. For a moment, the figures of the Golden Crow and the Torch Dragon appeared behind him at the same time. After receiving the true qi of the Golden Crow and the true qi of the Scarlet Yang, the flowing fire sword finally produced a resonant thrum. It broke free from the spatial prison formed by the celestial Peng Saint body with Qing Su. Golden Crow? Torch Dragon? Lai Wuyang, who had been staring at Tsing Hui and felt that Tsing Hui was quite familiar, saw the Golden Crow phantoms behind Tsing Hui, and suddenly remembered where the sense of familiarity came from. He could not help but exclaim, "Cho Tsing Hui! You're the Alliance Master of the Life League, Cho Tsing Hui." Cho Tsing Hui? Alliance Master of the Life League? Master of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect's Sea-Suppressing Hall? Qin Zhen, whose face was full of murderous intent and seemed to think that victory was in sight, couldn't help but be taken aback by Lai Wuyang's shout. Unfortunately, Lai Wuyang's shout was a little too late. Even Tsing Hui was too late. He had broken free from the space imprisonment formed by the heavenly rock sacred body for too long. When he finally broke free from the imprisonment, the 3 eternal blazing suns had already bombarded 100 meters in front of him, and then they suddenly exploded. Rumble! The power of 3 eternal blazing suns exploding at the same time was not something that one eternal blazing sun could compare to. Under everyone's horrified gazes, a ball of light that was twice as large as the previous one suddenly exploded. It was as if a blazing sun had fallen. Endless brilliance and a terrifying stream of light that was enough to kill an ordinary saint expert completely exploded in the void, incinerating, annihilating, and turning everything within 10,000 meters into nothingness. Chapter 256. Alliance Master? How could this be? In the distance, Lord Zhenhai, Goddess Zhu Luo, Tensha of Gojoseon, the Moon Lake Master, and the others stared dumbfoundedly at the figure completely engulfed in flames. Their faces were filled with disbelief. That Alliance Master Tsing Hui of the Life Alliance had died just like that? Not only them, but Elder Qin Zhen of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect was also a little shocked. However, the reason for her astonishment was not that Tsing Hui had been killed by 3 eternal blazing suns, but Lai Weiyang couldn't help but blurt out in surprise. The man in front of her was not a hidden expert of the Create Evolve mysterious sect, but the Alliance Master of the Life Alliance, Cho Tsing Hui, the person who had just joined the Hunyuan Heaven Sect and was summoned by Sect Masters Wakunlun to be conferred the position of Deputy Hall Master of the Sea Calming Hall. Compared to the Life Alliance, Qin Zhen and the others, Lai Weiyang's thoughts were more complicated. The reason for this series of complicated thoughts was ultimately because of what Nayland Fei had said to her not long ago. But now, whether those words were true or false, and the benefits behind this matter were no longer important. The previous 7 eternal blazing suns had already blown Tsing Hui to the brink of exhaustion, and even the treasure that could withstand 1 or 2 attacks from the eternal blazing suns seemed to have been destroyed. Now that he was struck by 3 eternal blazing suns at the same time, the outcome could be said to be certain death. Rumble. Just as everyone was about to turn around and leave, the 3 eternal blazing suns exploded at the same time. Amidst the extremely bright and glossy light, an aura that wasn't considered astonishing suddenly erupted. Even though this aura wasn't strong, every single strand of energy seemed to contain a shocking pressure. As soon as it appeared, it actually carried a might that could split rivers and overturn seas, completely tearing apart and suppressing the blazing flame energy before him. Such an abrupt change caused the originally shocked crowd to widen their eyes at the same time. They couldn't care less about the dazzling light from the explosion of the eternal blazing suns, and tried their best to look at the center of the explosion. They saw an immortal-like figure quietly appear in the dazzling eternal blazing suns. With a wave of his hand, the explosive power that contained the power to destroy heaven and earth was forcibly suppressed. Then he parted his hand, and a gap was torn open in the endless eternal blazing suns formed. No matter how the surrounding flame power raged and attacked, it still couldn't destroy the eternal blazing suns in the end. However, Qing Su, who originally thought he would not be able to escape death today, suddenly returned to his senses after being stunned. He shot off on his sword as soon as possible, rapidly leaving the center of the explosion of the 3 eternal suns. Protective Jade Talisman. It's a protective jade. Seeing the figure that appeared in the void, Qin Zhen immediately recognized it and exclaimed in shock. This protective jade talisman. The power contained in it is only at the level of the green netherworld realm, but the quality of the power is far beyond everyone's imagination. This level of power can actually exert a terrifying power that isn't inferior to the sage realm. The cultivation of this protective jade talisman can definitely be said to be extremely high, and it's very likely that it's an almighty who has cultivated divine power. Yuan He, who came from afar, was shocked. A protective talisman given by an almighty? There's an almighty behind the person in front of me? Rumble. In the void, the power of the simultaneous explosion of the 3 eternal blazing suns was still raging wildly, quickly swallowing up the figure that appeared. However, with the protection of that figure, Tsing Hui had already escaped from the core area of the explosion of the eternal blazing suns. At that moment, he almost thought that he was going to die. If it weren't for the fact that esteemed Zhu Zhao had left a power in the cultivation technique of the Torch Sun Sutra that exploded at the critical moment to protect his body, he would have died without a complete corpse under the explosion of the 3 eternal blazing suns. During this period of time, as his chaotic level had risen to level 25, he had used the incarnation technique to travel the infinite wasteland domain and obtained a large amount of resources. He had naturally advanced to the green netherworld realm, killed the Blood Dragon King, and unified the outer seas. This had caused him to have a trace of blind confidence in his own strength, and thus underestimated the foundation of the other holy sects. He had almost died under the bombardment of the eternal blazing suns. This scene fiercely rang an alarm bell in his mind. In the entire eastern wilderness, he might have been called an expert, but he was definitely not strong enough to look down on everyone in the world. If he continued to maintain this arrogant attitude, there would be a day when he would fail miserably. This time, it was fortunate that esteemed Zhu Zhao had left a hidden card that saved his life. What about the next time? No matter what, he must never lose his vigilance. Tsing Hui reflected in his heart, but his hand movements were not slow. Qin Zhen had already exhausted her genuine qi. Not to mention manifesting the celestial rock sage body, it was difficult for her to maintain her longevity level 6 cultivation. At this time, even if Lord Zhenhai borrowed the power of the divine skill, he could still defeat her. He had gone through untold hardships this time to capture Lai Weiyang alive and force her to reveal the 5th and 6th level of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique. Success was right in front of him, and he did not want to miss it. Taking advantage of the fact that Yuan He had not arrived in time to avoid the core power of the explosion of the eternal blazing suns, he directly unleashed the speed of his sword. With a sonic boom that tore through the void, he instantly shot toward Lai Weiyang. Oh no! Retreat! Seeing Tsing Hui rushing toward Lai Weiyang, Luo Rieo roared and was about to pull Lai Weiyang away. He already understood that Qin Zhen did not have the ability to protect Lai Weiyang, the saintess. Wait, I'll go with you. On the other hand, Lai Weiyang knew very well why Tsing Hui was rushing toward her. Seeing that she could not escape, she simply took the initiative to go forward. Although Tsing Hui was a little surprised, he did not say much. He grabbed Lai Weiyang and instantly tore through the air. Cho Tsing Hui, you're too presumptuous. What do you want to do? Qin Zhen roared angrily as she watched Cho Tsing Hui capture Lai Weiyang. Luo Rieo wanted to give chase, but how could he, who was only at the Qingming stage, catch up to Tsing Hui, who had a grade 9 flying sword? His face was immediately filled with anxiety and worry. Elder Qin Zhen, please quickly send people to capture this thief. At this moment, Yuan He also caught up. Hearing Qin Zhen's angry shout, his expression turned somewhat ugly as he asked, that thief actually captured Saintess Lai Weiyang alive? Wouldn't it be more convenient to kill him than to capture Saintess Lai Weiyang alive? Also, junior sister Qin Zhen, what did you mean by calling out Cho Tsing Hui earlier? This Qin Zhen could not help but frown as she thought of how muddle-headed the battle had been. However, it was not appropriate for her to explain in detail in front of Luo Rieo. She could only shake her head and say to Luo Rieo, don't worry, we will investigate this matter thoroughly. Moreover, based on Saintess Lai Weiyang's behavior, she seems to know this person. She should not be in danger for a short period of time. Otherwise, she would not have taken the initiative to leave with him. Luo Rieo carefully thought about Qin Zhen's words and felt that it made sense. However, he still said with a worried expression, even so, I hope that your sect will rescue our saintess as soon as possible. Saintess Lai Weiyang has already been conferred the title of Deputy Sect Master by Sect Master, and is also the first Deputy Sect Master. She is a person who will inherit the Jin Wu religion in the future. If she is captured by your sect's Hall Master in your sect's territory and something happens to her, it will definitely affect the unity of our two sections. Deputy Sect Master Luo, don't worry. I will do my best to track down his whereabouts. If that person is really the Deputy Hall Master of our Hunyuan Heaven Sect's Sea Suppressing Hall, someone in our Hunyuan Heaven Sect will definitely be able to find him. Qin Zhen nodded solemnly. Yuan He also vaguely understood the details of what Qin Zhen and the others had said, and a look of shock suddenly emerged on his face. Deputy Sect Master Luo, let's return to the Hunyuan Heaven Sect first. I will report this matter to the Sect Master. Luo Rieo nodded worriedly. The Jin Wu religion's forces were all focused on resisting the Create-Evolve mysterious sect, and they couldn't spare any supreme elders. Moreover, given the terrifying battle strength displayed by the mysterious expert just now, even if the Jin Wu religion really sent a supreme elder, they couldn't do anything to him. Now, they could only pin their hopes on the Hunyuan Heaven Sect. Yuan He glanced at King Zhenhai and the others behind him. When they left Qing Su, they had directly fled as well. At this moment, Yuan He no longer had any intention of hunting them down. He only secretly asked Qin Zhen through voice transmission, Junior Sister Qin Zhen, What's going on? The mysterious expert who intercepted the Jin Wu religion's battleship wasn't a secret chess piece of the Create-Evolve mysterious sect, but the deputy hall master of our Hunyuan Heaven Sect's Sea-Suppressing Hall, the alliance master of the Overseas Life Moon Alliance, Cho Sing-hui? We can all see that the mysterious expert has disguised himself and concealed his true appearance, but Lai Weong used some unknown method to identify the mysterious expert and claimed that he was Cho Sing-hui. How is that possible? Although Cho Sing-hui's cultivation base is high and he has unified the overseas, how can his battle strength reach such a level? Even if he borrowed the power of the divine art, he shouldn't be able to fight head-on with your heavenly Peng's sacred body. Yuan He found it hard to believe. In fact, what he said was still a little conservative. Although the duration of the divine saint technique was short, it was slightly longer than when Qin Zhen manifested the celestial Peng's sacred physique. Based on this, Qin Zhen's true qi had run out in the end, but the time limit of the divine saint technique of Qing Su was not up yet. If a battle of life and death really erupted between the two of them, Qin Zhen, who had run out of true qi in the end, would only end up dead. Obviously, all of us have underestimated the alliance master of the Life Moon Alliance. Even the sect master who specially investigated his information is no exception. Qin Zhen said with a serious face. Yuan He was startled, and finally nodded in agreement. The sect master's importance to Tsing Hui was inferred based on his battle record of killing the Blood WRM King. As for the Blood WRM King, even though it was able to contend against an immortal stage level 6 prominent divine stage elite for a moment, that was when the prominent divine stage elite had not manifested his divine body. Once the prominent divine stage elite went all out and manifested his divine body, a mere Blood WRM King was nothing. But Tsing Hui was different. The battle just now had completely proved that Cho Tsing Hui already had the strength to surpass the ordinary Grand Elders. In fact, within the duration of the divine art, he was a saint expert. In fact, the point I'm really concerned about is not Cho Tsing Hui's combat power. But, when Qin Zhen said this, he thought of the scene where the sage-like figure suppressed the explosive power of the 3 eternal blazing suns with the cultivation of the green hell realm for 2 to 3 breaths. There was a hint of awe in his tone. But, when his life was hanging by a thread, the mysterious Almighty who suddenly appeared and suppressed the explosive power of the 3 eternal blazing suns for him, allowing him to escape with a slim chance of survival. Chapter 257. The Jin Wu religion's alliance team was attacked 1,000 kilometers away from the Hunyuan Heaven Sect's headquarters. When the news came back, it immediately caused a sensation among the Hunyuan Heaven Sect's higher-ups. Sect Masters Wakun Lun immediately issued an order, and the sect's 4 supreme elders, Song Yu, Du Ming, Xing Lu, and Fa Dai, came out of closed-door cultivation at the same time and rushed to the location of the battle as quickly as possible. An hour later, the several supreme elders of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect returned at the same time, accompanied by Deputy Sect Master Luo Rieo. As for the damaged battleship that had been pierced through by Tsing Hui's sword, it was docked in a city not far from the battlefield. The Hunyuan Heaven Sect's deacon in charge of repairing the battleship and cleaning up the battlefield for the Jin Wu religion. At this time, almost everyone's attention was focused on Elder Qin Zhen, Elder Yuan He, and Deputy Sect Master Luo Rieo. Elder Qin Zhen, we were just about to send people to search for the culprit who dared to commit such a vicious act in our Hunyuan Heaven Sect, but you stopped us and said that there was something else behind this matter. What is the reason? As soon as Qin Zhen arrived, Du Ming, who was a little anxious, couldn't wait to ask. The mysterious master attacked the Jin Wu religion's team, but I don't think it was for revenge. He himself should be targeting the Jin Wu religion's saintess Lai Weong, but we have to summon someone to know the specific reason. Qin Zhen glanced at Zhou Kunlun as she spoke. Zhou Kunlun received Qin Zhen's report and knew that the mysterious master couldn't be made public for the time being. He nodded and said, Qinlan Peak Master Nalan Fei? I've already sent someone to inform her. Qin Zhen grunted in agreement. Zhou Kunlun looked at Qin Zhen with a solemn expression and said, Elder Qin Zhen, you mentioned earlier that there is likely to be an almighty behind the mysterious master. Is this true or false? You should know that this is an almighty, an invincible figure who can easily flatten the entire eastern wilderness. How can there be anyone in the eastern wilderness who is related to such an important figure? Zhou Kunlun's concern was also the reason why many of the elders present had hurriedly gathered here. As he asked about this matter, everyone's gazes all landed on Elder Qin Zhen. I'm not sure if it's an almighty, but at the most critical moment, Deputy Leader Luo Rieo took out 3 eternal blazing suns at the same time and detonated them. The mighty power was enough to completely kill the mysterious expert, but the existence that seemed to be an almighty suddenly appeared and easily suppressed the explosive power of the 3 eternal blazing suns for 2 breaths, allowing the mysterious expert to escape. At this point, Qin Zhen's tone paused slightly and she said solemnly, "And the existence that seems to be a powerful existence, at most, only showed the power of the green hell realm during the whole process. Eternal blazing sun? Or was it a triple explosion? He was actually suppressed for 2 breaths by the existence that seems to be a powerful existence with the cultivation of the green netherworld realm. It has to be an almighty. The power of 3 eternal blazing suns is enough to kill a saint expert on the spot if they don't take out a treasure to defend themselves. The difference in battle power between the first 4 layers of the saint stage is not significant. To be able to achieve this with the cultivation of the green netherworld realm, it must be an almighty who has cultivated a remarkable ability. That's right. Even a 4th layer saint expert with the immortal golden pill can't suppress the explosive power of 3 eternal blazing suns for 2 breaths with the cultivation of the green netherworld realm. Song Yu, Du Ming, Star Slaughter, Fa Dai, and the other grand elders nodded in agreement. Their expressions all became solemn. An almighty. That was an almighty, an invincible existence that could easily flatten the eastern wilderness. Even in the heaven wasteland world, where the cultivation civilization was flourishing to the extreme, such a person could establish a first-rate sect and become a top powerhouse. In front of such a person, the little Hunyuan Heaven sect was not even worth mentioning. That mysterious expert is the disciple of that almighty? Zhou Kunlun found it difficult to calm down. Even if it was only a possibility, it was enough to make the entire Hunyuan Heaven sect panic. Disciple? That's impossible, right? Could it be that the mysterious expert obtained a protective jade talisman from that almighty by chance? Dai hesitated for a moment before voicing her own conjecture. The others' eyes also lit up. However, before they could heave a sigh of relief with this self-deceiving explanation, Grand Elder Yuan he waved his hand without hesitation. I think it's very likely that the mysterious expert is this almighty's disciple. Why? How could an almighty not have any disciple? Why would he specially come to a small place like the eastern wilderness to recruit disciples? Du Ming countered. Ordinary geniuses naturally won't catch the eye of an almighty. Even top geniuses who have cultivated divine-grade astral chi aren't worth that almighty coming all the way here. But what if that top genius has awakened 2 divine beast bloodlines at the same time and cultivated them to at least the spirit and chi unity stage? When Grand Elder Yuan He's words came out, it really startled everyone. A dual bloodline cultivator? That mysterious expert has cultivated 2 divine beast bloodlines at the same time? And cultivated them to at least the spirit and chi unity stage. Awakening 2 divine beast bloodlines is already 1 in a million, not to mention 2 divine beast bloodlines. Moreover, he actually cultivated 2 divine beast bloodlines to such a high level. I always thought that people who could cultivate 2 divine beast bloodlines to such a high level were just legends in the eastern wilderness, and it was impossible for them to appear. It can't be wrong, it can't be wrong. That mysterious expert must be that almighty's disciple. Other than that almighty, I can't think of anyone else in the eastern wilderness who can teach such an outstanding young talent. The grand elders exclaimed at the same time. Qin Zhen nodded thoughtfully. Our Hunyuan Heaven sect's holy son, Jiesu, has also cultivated a divine beast bloodline to the blue netherworld stage. But even with the power of the divine art, he's no match for my heavenly rock sacred body. That mysterious expert can rely on the power of the divine art to defeat me, because he's a dual bloodline cultivator and has received the inheritance of an almighty. The Grand Elders looked at each other. A dual bloodline cultivators. And a divine beast bloodline. His identity as the disciple of an almighty was almost certain. For a moment, the Grand Elders didn't know how the Hunyuan Heaven sect should resolve this matter. For the sake of the sect's dignity, they hunted down that mysterious expert. Once they offended that almighty, the entire Hunyuan Heaven sect would face a calamity. But if they turned a blind eye to this matter, how could the Jinwu religion let the Hunyuan Heaven sect's prestige go so easily? Qin Jin looked at the worried Zhuo Kunlun and whispered, "Sect Master, please calm down. If my guess is correct, there may be a perfect solution to this matter." Zhuo Kunlun glanced at Grand Elder Qin Jin and finally nodded. A moment later, a guard came in to report, "Sect Master, Qinglan Peak Master Nailin Fei has arrived." "Let her in." "Yes." Not long after, Nailin Fei was led to a small conference room by an elder of the Spirit and Qi Unison stage. The matters discussed in this small conference room were relatively secret, and the security outside was tight. When Nailin Fei arrived, she faintly felt that something was wrong. When she saw that there were 6 Grand Elders in the conference room, as well as the Sect Master himself, she immediately understood that the Sect Master had summoned her here for no small matter. "Greetings, Sect Master, greetings 6 Grand Elders." Zhuo Kunlun originally had a solemn look on his face, but after a moment, he recalled Qin Jin's description of Tsing Hui's terrifying battle prowess and background, as well as the relationship between Nailin Fei and Tsing Hui. The solemn look on his face gradually became amiable. "You don't have to be nervous. Grand Elder Qin Jin has a few questions for you. You just have to answer truthfully." "Yes." Peak Master Nailin Fei. "You are a close relative of Palace Master Chou Tsing Hui and the Palace Master of the Calming Sea Palace. Do you know if Chou Tsing Hui and Jinwu religion's sacred maiden Lai Wuyang know each other?" Qin Jin asked. "Tsing Hui?" Nailin Fei was slightly startled, and immediately understood that this matter must be related to Chou Tsing Hui. However, no matter how smart she was, she could not imagine that Tsing Hui would lead people to intercept the Jinwu religion's team. Therefore, when she thought that her words should not cause any trouble, she slowly said, "As far as I know, Tsing Hui and Sacred Maiden Lai Wuyang are quite familiar with each other." "Oh, then do you know what the relationship between the two of them is?" "The relationship between the two of them?" Nailin Fei could not help but hesitate for a moment. "Just say it." Zhuo Kunlun smiled. Nailin Fei looked at Zhuo Kunlun, who seemed quite amiable, and gritted her teeth, intending to fight for Tsing Hui. "Sect Master, although I know that my words carry little weight and I can't influence the decisions of our Hunyuan Heaven sect, disciples still earnestly request Sect Master to take back the marriage between the Hunyuan Heaven sect and the Jinwu religion. Our Hunyuan Heaven sect and the Jinwu religion already have a good relationship, and we have even formed an offensive and defensive alliance. There is no need to use marriage to consolidate the foundation of the alliance between the two." Zhuo Kunlun glanced at Grand Elder Qin Jin, and his eyes lit up. He immediately guessed something and said with a smile, "Let's not talk about this for the time being. Not long ago, the Jinwu religion came to my Hunyuan Heaven sect to discuss the marriage with me. Although we have reached a preliminary agreement, because the Jiesu saint is not present, we have not really confirmed it to the world. Tell me, what is the relationship between our Deputy Hall Master Tsing Hui and the Jinwu religion's sacred maiden Lai Wuyang?" Zhuo Kunlun's words immediately caused everyone who had faintly guessed some of the inside story to look at Nailin Fei. They heaved a sigh of relief in their hearts as they waited for Nailin Fei's final answer. When Nailin Fei saw that Zhuo Kunlun was smiling and had no intention of pursuing the matter, she did not want to miss this opportunity. She hurriedly added fuel to the fire. "Sect Master, as far as I know, Tsing Hui and Sacred Maiden Lai Wuyang have known each other for a long time, and because of their cultivation journey together, they have formed a deep relationship. They have shared life and death, honor and disgrace, and can be said to be congenial to each other. As far as I know, Tsing Hui has even reached the point where he will not marry Sacred Maiden Lai Wuyang." Speaking of this, Nailin Fei hurriedly pleaded, "Our Hunyuan Heaven sect and the Jinwu religion are both major sects in the world, and are at the top of the Eastern Wilderness. In the face of a life-and-death enemy like the Create-Evolve mysterious sect, we should wholeheartedly cooperate and support each other. Even if we are in an alliance, there is no need to sacrifice the future happiness of the younger generation as a guarantee. Therefore, I implore Sect Master to allow Tsing Hui and Sacred Maiden Lai Weong to cancel the marriage between the two sections. At the same time, I also ask that Deputy Sect Master Luo pass on a message to your Sect Master that the responsibility of the sect's survival should not be placed entirely on the shoulders of a girl. When Zhou Kunlun, Qin Zhen and the others heard Nayland Fei's personal confirmation, they exchanged a glance and did not know whether to laugh or cry. They understood. They understood everything. The whole matter was caused by the marriage between the Hunyuan Heaven sect and the Jin Wu religion. Chapter 258. The truth was revealed. Because the Jin Wu religion was worried that their secret marriage with the Hunyuan Heaven sect would be obstructed by external forces, they did not mention it to anyone except the higher-ups of the Hunyuan Heaven sect. It could be said to be low-key and mysterious. It was not until they successfully arrived at the Hunyuan Heaven sect and reached an agreement with the Hunyuan Heaven sect that they announced this matter to the higher-ups. Cho Tsing Hui, who was bitterly in love with Lai Weong, suddenly received the news when he attended the Qinglan Peaks founding assembly that his beloved was going to marry someone else. Naturally, he was shocked and angry. However, he understood the severity of the matter and did not make a scene in the Hunyuan Heaven sect immediately. Instead, he waited until Lai Weong left the Hunyuan Heaven sect before impatiently attacking the Jin Wu religion team. His ultimate goal was to kidnap Lai Weong and take her far away. However, he did not expect that after the Jin Wu religion and the Hunyuan Heaven sect formed an alliance, the Hunyuan Heaven sect would send two grand elders, Qin Zhen and Yuan He, to accompany them, which ultimately led to a series of battles. As for why Lai Weong did not inform Tsing Hui of the marriage alliance with the Hunyuan Heaven sect. According to Nayland Fei's words, they also understood responsibility. As the saintess of the Jin Wu religion, Lai Weong naturally had to shoulder the responsibility of a saintess when the Jin Wu religion was facing a life and death crisis. Therefore, she hid it from Tsing Hui and did not even mention to the Jin Wu religion that she already had someone in her heart. She shouldered the heavy responsibility of the marriage alliance with the Hunyuan Heaven sect without hesitation and chose to sacrifice her future happiness to save the Jin Wu religion. This kind of spirit was very touching. She's still young after all. After figuring out the cause and effect of the whole matter, Zhou Kunlun, Qin Zhen, and the others all sighed. They seemed to recall their youth, and also seemed to recall the unforgettable love they had for each other before they lost their innocence. But now, many things were gone with the wind under the grinding of time and were no longer the same as before. Of course, the reason why Zhou Kunlun, Qin Zhen, and Yuan He could react so calmly was because of the powerful strength that Tsing Hui had displayed in the battle against Qin Zhen and Yuan He. At that time, Qin Zhen and Yuan He had joined forces to attack Tsing Hui, but in the end, they were almost defeated by him. Tsing Hui alone was equivalent to the strength of two grand elders. Such an expert was enough to attract the attention of any power. Especially according to their understanding, this Tsing Hui looked extremely young, but his future potential was limitless. Coupled with the fact that Tsing Hui had the power to easily destroy the Hunyuan Heavenly sect and was suspected to be the disciple of a powerful being, they had no choice but to change their attitude. He was a genius with limitless potential, had no conflicts of interest, and even had the backing of a powerful being. If the Hunyuan Heaven sect had been so unforgiving because of a misunderstanding, they would have disbanded long ago. Young and hot-blooded. For the Hunyuan Heaven sect, this matter was basically over. Sect leader, what exactly happened? Could it be Tsing Hui Heej? Nayland Fei already had a bad premonition when she heard the conversation between the Hunyuan Heaven sect's higher-ups. Don't be nervous. Sensing the change in Nayland Fei and Tsing Hui, Zhou Kunlun chuckled. This matter isn't as bad as you think. Go back first and wait for our next news. Nayland Fei glanced at Zhou Kunlun. In front of the Jin Wu religion's distinguished guests, she couldn't continue to pursue the matter. She could only respond, yes. Vice Sect Leader Luo, how do you think this matter should be resolved? After Nalan Fei was led away by the guards, Zhuo Kunlun's gaze fell on Luo Rieo. Although the Jinwu religion had to completely rely on the Hunyuan Heaven sect to have any hope of resisting the Create-Evolve mysterious sect, they still had to treat the Jinwu religion with caution. This matter arose because of the marriage between our sect leader and the saintess. I think it's better for me to report this to our sect leader and find a way to contact the saintess. We can make a decision after the saintess returns. Luo Rieo also didn't know how to resolve this matter. However, he also had other ideas in his mind. Cho Tsinghui was young, but he had already displayed terrifying battle prowess that allowed him to fight two people alone. In addition, he was deeply in love with their saintess. He didn't hesitate to attack the Jinwu religion's worship and take the saintess away at the risk of offending the Hunyuan Heaven sect and the Jinwu religion. Perhaps they could use their saintess as a foundation to pull Tsinghui from the Hunyuan Heaven sect to the Jinwu religion. Tsinghui was only a small deputy hall master of the Sea Calming Hall in the Hunyuan Heaven sect. He wasn't even a hall master. Given his relationship with the saintess, if they could pull him into the Jinwu religion, it wouldn't be difficult for the sect leader to give him the position of supreme elder. After all, the saintess had already proven that she was willing to sacrifice her own happiness for the sect. Her loyalty was completely guaranteed. As for Cho Tsinghui, once he entered the Jinwu religion, the saintess would watch over him. Would he still be afraid that he would betray the Jinwu religion in the future? The more Luo Rieo thought about it, the more he felt it was possible. He couldn't wait any longer. Sect Master Zhuo, I have to go back and report this matter to our sect leader as soon as possible. I won't stay here any longer. Goodbye. The Hunyuan Heaven sect is also very sorry that this has happened. Since Sect Master Luo is in a hurry to leave and report this matter to Sect Master Zhu, we won't force you to stay. Please convey our Hunyuan Heaven sect's apology to your sect leader. Please rest assured that this matter will absolutely not affect the relationship between the Hunyuan Heaven sect and the Jinwu religion. Many thanks, Sect Master. I will definitely convey these words for Sect Master. Come, send Sect Master Luo out for me. Zhuo Kunlun summoned a Qingming realm attendant and led Luo Rieo out of the small conference room. Good. I didn't expect that mysterious expert to be someone from our Hunyuan Heaven sect. The deputy hall master of the Sea Calming Hall, Cho Tsinghui? The alliance master who just joined the Life Moon Alliance? That boy is really hiding his strength. Cho Tsinghui is from the Zhuo family, right? He is also an expert that Nalan Fei pulled in. It seems that the Peak Master of Qinglan Peak is really our Hunyuan Heaven sect's lucky star. Now that there were no outsiders, the Hunyuan Heaven sect's grand elders burst into laughter, each and every one of them looking very happy. Even Qin Zhen and Yuan He, who had fought with Tsinghui before, were no exception. As supreme elders cultivated by the Hunyuan Heaven sect, they naturally put the sect's interests first. The Hunyuan Heaven sect had a top master with unlimited potential like Cho Tsinghui, which was beneficial to the entire Hunyuan Heaven sect. In addition, their previous battle was completely due to a misunderstanding. With the magnanimity of the two, they naturally wouldn't haggle over such a small matter. Seeing Luo Rieo leave in a hurry, Qin Zhen stood on Tsinghui's side and said, Sect Master, I think that Sect Master Luo wants to poach people from our Hunyuan Heaven sect. He dares. Isn't he afraid that our Hunyuan Heaven sect will turn a blind eye to the Jinwu religion's crisis? Yuan He roared. The more powerful a sect was, the greater the power they held. Under such circumstances, Yuan He and the others naturally wouldn't allow their sect's genius, who was very likely to grow into the saint stage in the future, to be poached by the Jinwu religion. He may not dare to poach people openly, but what if Tsinghui takes the initiative to withdraw from our Hunyuan Heaven sect? After all, he is just a deputy hall master of our Hunyuan Heaven sect's Sea Suppressing Hall. Qin Zhen said. As soon as these words came out, everyone fell silent. Yes, the Jinwu religion had Lai Wuyang. If what Nalan Fei said was true, and Tsinghui was deeply in love with Lai Wuyang, coupled with the Jinwu religion's efforts to recruit him, he really might abandon the Hunyuan Heaven sect and join the Jinwu religion. At that time, the Hunyuan Heaven sect would suffer heavy losses. This issue really needs to be discussed carefully. Not to mention whether or not Tsing Hui has an almighty behind him, just the fact that he already has battle strength comparable to 2 supreme elders at such a young age is enough for us to treat him with 120% attention. If we really miss such a promising disciple, it will be our Hunyuan Heaven sect's greatest loss in thousands of years. Elder Ifidai and the others said with a serious expression. With Tsing Hui's ability, if the Jinwu religion wants to poach him, they will definitely give him the position of Supreme Elder. If we really want to keep him in our Hunyuan Heaven sect and increase our strength, the final treatment we give him can't be worse than the Jinwu religion. How about, we also give him the position of Supreme Elder? Xing Lu's gaze swept across everyone present as he cautiously suggested. Supreme Elder? That's not appropriate. The ancestors of our Hunyuan Heaven sect are all in closed-door cultivation in the forbidden area. Unless the sect encounters a great disaster, they never interfere with the sect's development. The Supreme Elder is already the most powerful person in the sect. Although Tsing Hui has a promising future and astonishing battle strength, he has only been in our Hunyuan Heaven sect for a short time. Wouldn't it be a little too much to appoint him as a Supreme Elder? Xing Lu hesitated. If we can't give him the position of Supreme Elder, we may not be able to keep Cho Tsing Hui. If he really is snatched away by the Jinwu religion, it will be too late for our Hunyuan Heaven sect to regret it. Above the Deputy Hall Master is the Hall Master, and above the Hall Master is the Supreme Elder. However, the influence of each hall is different. How about we transfer him to one of the higher-ranked halls to become a Hall Master? That's not right. Putting aside the fact that we won't be able to deal with the Life Alliance behind Qing Su, which one of the top Hall Masters hasn't made great contributions to our Hunyuan Heaven sect. Wouldn't it be disappointing to have someone replace him? Then let's change the way we put it. The several Supreme Elders gathered together and discussed spiritedly. They were all considering how to arrange Tsing Hui's matter. Zhuo Kunlun watched for a moment and pondered for a while. He suddenly said, "Elders, please listen to me. Sect Master, what good idea do you have? Are you worried that Cho Tsing Hui will affect the future development of our Hunyuan Heaven sect if he becomes a Supreme Elder? I don't think there's anything to worry about. Our Hunyuan Heaven sect's Supreme Elder Council has never been a one-sided decision. When it comes to the sect's development, we need to pool our thoughts and make a decision together. If Tsing Hui really does something that will endanger our Hunyuan Heaven sect's interests, as long as we reject all of his requests, wouldn't the harm his power as a Supreme Elder bring to us be insignificant?" Zhuo Kunlun's words stunned the various elders. They immediately reacted. "That's right, why didn't I think of that? Even if he threatens the future of our Hunyuan Heaven sect, he can't do anything alone. I don't have any objections." "Yes, that's true." The various Supreme Elders nodded one by one and gradually relaxed. Since everyone has no objections, then it's decided. When Cho Tsing Hui returns, we will convene the Supreme Elder Council and announce his appointment as a Supreme Elder. Now, we can even start building the Supreme Elder Peak for him. Chapter 259. Swish. A beam of sword light whizzed through the air and landed in a dense forest in an instant. This forest was obviously a desolate and uninhabited wilderness. Countless towering ancient trees rose from the ground, and they were verdant and lush, concealing everything that happened within the forest. Ugh! Lai Weong, who had charged into the forest, was thrown to the ground by Tsing Hui. She couldn't help but cry out in dissatisfaction, "Cho Tsing Hui, can't you be a gentleman? I don't think I need to be a gentleman to you. It's better to be simple and direct." As Tsing Hui spoke, he looked at the pale-faced Lai Weong in a fiery red dress. "I find it a little strange. I thought you would fight me to the death. Even your Hunyuan Heavenly Sect's Grand Elder Yuan He and Grand Elder Qin Lian couldn't do anything to you. Even if I've cultivated divine-grade astral qi and stepped into the spirit qi unification stage, I'm still far from being your match. Even if I fight to the death, the outcome won't change much. This doesn't conform to your style, Lai Weong. Back then, you were already restrained by me and almost killed me. Compared to the situation back then, your current ending is undoubtedly much better. At that time, I thought I was going to die, so I naturally had to fight with my life. But now, since I won't die, why should I put myself in danger? Won't die? Then you should know what the prerequisite is for not dying. Lai Wuyang was silent for a moment, but she still truthfully said, Sect Master has already taught me the 5th layer of the Great Sun Golden Crow techniques. Then what are you waiting for? Xing Hui stretched out his hand. The mysteries contained in the 5th layer of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique can't be compared to the first 4 layers. Some key points can only be understood but not explained. If you want to learn it, you can only go to the Jinwu religion's sect to receive the inheritance, or you can only rely on my divine sense to impart it. Otherwise, even if you obtain a cultivation manual, you'll have to spend 10 times, or even 100 times the time to fully comprehend it. Imparting divine sense? Xing Hui frowned slightly. When imparting the divine sense, he had to remove his mental defenses. If Lai Wuyang had any ill intentions at this time and launched an attack, he would definitely be able to inflict heavy damage to his mental state. Recalling Lai Wuang's previous record, his expression immediately turned cold. There's no need to impart divine sense. Just write me the 5th stage of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique. Lai Wuyang clearly understood that it was impossible for him to make Xing Hui accept his divine sense teaching, so he immediately took out a brush, ink, paper, and ink stone from his personal space and began to write the cultivation method for the 5th layer of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique on the spot. There was almost no rejection during the entire process, as if he was already used to his sect's top cultivation method being robbed by Xing Hui. Less than an hour later, Lai Wuyang finished writing the 5th stage of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique and handed it to Xing Hui. Receiving the 5th stage of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique, Xing Hui quickly flipped through it. During this period of time, in terms of Zhenqi cultivation, although he had mainly focused on the Illuminating Sun Sutra, the Great Sun Golden Crow technique had still relied on the power emitted from the Illuminating Sun Sutra to cultivate to the peak of the 4th stage. Now, as he flipped through the cultivation method for the 5th stage of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique, suddenly, the bottleneck of the Golden Crow Zhenqi and Zhenqi as one realm faintly loosened, and there was a great tendency for him to break through and advance to the Blue Netherworld realm. But just as Lai Wuang had said, the profundity of the 5th level of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique belonged to many areas that could only be understood and not explained with words. Even though his Sun Crow True Qi cultivation was restless and seemed to be on the verge of breaking through, yet for some unknown reason, there was always a layer of barrier that caused him to be unable to truly grasp the critical factor to step into the Azure Snow realm for a long time. After a short moment, the feeling of the bottleneck loosening had actually vanished without a trace, causing him to miss an opportunity to break through for nothing. What about the 6th stage of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique? Logically speaking, the 6th and 5th stages should have been taught to you by your sect leader. Why is there only the 5th stage and not the 6th? If I was a true vice sect leader level figure, even if I had cultivated to the peak of the Zhenqi and Zhenqi as one realm, the sect leader would have taught me the 5th and 6th stages in one go. However, I have only just stepped into the Zhenqi and Zhenqi as one realm, so the 5th stage is already the sect leader's great favor. As for the 6th stage, Lai Wuyang shook her head. Really? My words have not the slightest bit of falsehood. Xing Hui looked at Lai Wuyang, as if he wanted to see if her words were true or false. Lai Wuyang was not afraid of Xing Hui, and just raised her head and looked at him in the eyes. There was actually no panic in her eyes, but there was a faint trace of complexity in the depths of her eyes. Xing Hui looked for a moment and really could not see if Lai Wuyang's words were true or false, so he did not force it. He had already obtained the 5th stage of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique. Even if it was not taught by divine sense, relying on his powerful comprehension ability and the Golden Crow Divine Beast True Body in the sky, he estimated that he would soon be able to completely comprehend the 5th stage of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique and push it to the peak of the Blue Netherworld realm. By the time he reached the peak of the Blue Netherworld realm, his ability would be considered the peak existence in the entire Jinwu religion. As long as he was careful and did not get hit by 10 eternal blazing suns at the same time, there would be almost no danger to his life. At that time, he could go to the Jinwu religion and forcefully take the 6th stage. Therefore, he did not appear too disappointed that he did not obtain the 5th and 6th stages in one go from Lai Weiyang. Cho Tsinghui, in fact, if you want the 6th stage of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique, I still have a way. Even if you want the complete inheritance of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique, I can get it for you. Join our Jinwu religion. Lai Weiyang looked at Tsinghui as a blazing light flashed in his eyes. From the strength you displayed in the battle with the Hunyuan Heaven Sect's 2 Grand Elders, Yuan He and Qin Zhen, you are no weaker than any prominent divine stage expert. If you really join our Jinwu religion, I have a 90% chance of obtaining the position of Grand Elder for you. Once you become a Grand Elder of our Jinwu religion, wouldn't you be able to have whatever you want in our Jinwu religion? Join the Jinwu religion? Tsinghui looked at Lai Weiyang in surprise. He did not expect Lai Weiyang to extend such an invitation to him. However, when he thought of how difficult it was for the Jinwu religion to move forward under the attack of the Create Evolve Mysterious Sect, he nodded in understanding. The Jinwu religion's most important task was to protect the sect's inheritance. Although inviting Tsinghui to join the Jinwu religion might lead to the danger of inviting a wolf into the house, if the entire Jinwu religion was gone, would it still be so important? That's right, join our Jinwu religion. Tsinghui, I can announce to the public that you are my husband. We have known each other for a long time and have gone through life and death together. Even if what happened today was in fact a rash act of you losing your calm after learning of my marriage with the Hunyuan Heaven Sect, I can immediately use the Primal Chaos Divine Hall to send a message to the Jinwu religion and have our sect master send a message to your Hunyuan Heaven Sect to prevent you from being hunted down by the Hunyuan Heaven Sect because of your identity being exposed. This way, not only can you continue to walk openly on the continent, with my guarantee, you will soon gain the trust of our Jinwu religion sect master and be bestowed with the Great Sun Golden Crow Art's 5th and 6th levels. You're actually willing to absolve me? Tsinghui looked at Lai Weiyang in surprise. In truth, Tsinghui also had a headache over the fact that Lai Weiyang had exposed his identity when he attacked the Jinwu religion's fleet. Although his foundation was overseas and he had the support of the Class 9 Saint Beast Hao Yu, he couldn't just stay overseas and not return to the continent, right? Intercepting Lai Weiyang in front of the 2 Grand Elders of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect was tantamount to a formal provocation to the Hunyuan Heaven Sect. Given the tyrannical nature of the 10 great sects, they would definitely not let this matter go so easily. Once the Hunyuan Heaven Sect was enraged, the Life Moon Alliance that he had worked so hard to establish would immediately vanish like a bubble. He would also not be able to collect dozens of Dao auras in a single trade fair like he did a few months ago. Even if he didn't care about this, if this matter affected Nayland Fei's development in the Hunyuan Heaven Sect, he would definitely feel guilty for the rest of his life. Therefore, if Lai Weiyang was willing to take the initiative to explain this matter and use the hands of the Jinwu religion sect master, Zhu Xian, to resolve the conflict with the Hunyuan Heaven Sect, it was indeed the best outcome. However, the Jinwu religion is currently facing a severe attack from the Create Evolve Mysterious Sect. Even with my help, they may not be able to reverse the situation. After all, although I can fight one against 2 Grand Elders, Yuan He and Qin Zhen, I'm basically at a disadvantage throughout the entire process. You should be able to see this. Therefore, I can't join the Jinwu religion and put myself in danger. Tsinghui's answer made Lai Weiyang reveal a look of disappointment. What she really saw was not Tsinghui's ability, but the terrifying potential he contained. The 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 4th layers of the Jinwu religion were all given to Tsinghui by her own hands. Lai Weiyang clearly understood how terrifying Tsinghui's talent was. For years, he had only used 4 years to cultivate the Great Sun Golden Crow art to the peak of the 4th layer. What kind of talent was this? If he was given more time to cultivate the 5th and 6th layers of the Great Sun Golden Crow art, wouldn't he soar to the heavens? Therefore, although he currently did not have the ability to save the Jinwu religion, as long as the Jinwu religion could survive for 8 to 10 years with the help of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect, Tsinghui would be able to cultivate the 5th and 6th layers of the Jinwu religion. When that time came, Tsinghui, I hope you can seriously consider this. Although you've become an overlord in the overseas regions, compared to the foundations of the 10 great sects, it's really nothing. The power and resources of a grand elder of the 10 great sects far surpasses that of you, the Alliance Master of the Life Moon Alliance. Therefore, if you really join the Jinwu religion, the benefits you will receive will definitely far surpass your current status as Alliance Master. Although the Life Moon Alliance is small, I am the absolute ruler of the Life Moon Alliance. Xing Hui's words caused Lai Weiyang's disappointed face to glow with vitality again. If that's the only reason, you don't need to worry at all. Once you become a Grand Elder, the number of people in the Jinwu religion who can order you around can be counted on one hand. In fact, I've already been appointed as the first vice-sect master of the Jinwu religion. If nothing unexpected happens, I will definitely inherit the Jinwu religion and become the new sect master of the Jinwu religion. When that time comes, with me, you will even be able to surpass the Jinwu religion. Xing Hui shook his head. He did not let the big picture that Lai Weiyang had painted go to his head. However, after pondering for a moment, he had a new idea. Joining the Jinwu religion is impossible, but perhaps we can use another method to cooperate with each other. Chapter 260. It's impossible to join the Jinwu religion, but perhaps we can work together in another way. Xing Hui said. For a time, the glimmer of hope that had risen in Lai Weiyang's eyes dimmed again. However, considering the great danger that the Jinwu religion was facing and Xing Hui's great strength and shocking potential, she still raised her spirits and looked at Xing Hui. Tell me, how do we work together? It's very simple. When the Golden Crow sect is in danger, I can lend a helping hand. However, this kind of help is not free of charge. Every time I lend a helping hand, you have to pay a sufficient reward. For example, if I help you kill a prominent divine stage expert of the Creation Mystical Sect, you have to give me the 6th level of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique. Kill a prominent saint stage expert of the Creation Transformation Mysterious Sect? Lai Weiyang's heart trembled. The Creation Mystical Sect had many experts at the unity of spirit and Qi and Blue Darkness realm. They had basically reached the total number of cultivators at these 2 levels of cultivation in the other sects, but the number of prominent saint experts had decreased drastically. If Qing Su really could kill a prominent saint expert of the Creation Mystical Sect for them, so what if they gave him the 6th layer of the Great Sun Golden Crow method? Alright, I'll do as you say. If you're able to kill a Vision Saint stage expert of the Creation Mystical Sect, then I'll give you the 6th level of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique. If you're able to kill a Saint stage expert of the Creation Mystical Sect, then I'll convince Sect Master Zhu Xian to agree to your request even if you want to read the inheritance of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique. Alright. However, what you told me earlier about the Golden Crow sect persuading the Hunyuan Heavenly Sect was a misunderstanding must also be included in the plan. Of course, to show our sincerity, I will immediately contact our sect master and ask him to send a message to the Hunyuan Heavenly Sect to resolve this conflict. In addition, our cooperation will only be known by the heavens, earth, you and I, and no third party will know. In order to pave the way for you to comprehend the complete inheritance of the Great Sun Golden Crow art in the future, I will announce to the public that you are willing to become enemies with the Creation Transformation Mysterious Sect for me. This will allow you to walk in the Jinwu religion legitimately. Qing Su thought about it carefully. Lai Weiyang was just doing this to make everyone misunderstand their relationship, which would affect his reputation slightly. However, he did not care about this reputation at all. Moreover, Lai Weiyang's ultimate goal was to pave the way for him to comprehend the complete inheritance of the Great Sun Golden Crow art in the future. Even if he agreed, he would not lose anything. He nodded slightly. Alright, send a message to the sect master of the Jinwu religion. I will try to return to the Hunyuan Heavenly Sect in a while and secretly contact them. If I find that you did not help me solve this problem according to our agreement, don't blame me for hitting you when you are down and forcefully entering the Jinwu religion to plunder the Great Sun Golden Crow art inheritance of your Jinwu religion. Lai Weiyang calmly glanced at Xing Hui. Don't worry, making an enemy like you will only do harm to the Jinwu religion. I will not do anything that will make the Jin Wu religion's situation more difficult. After speaking, her mental energy undulations seemed to weaken a little. Evidently, she had already entered the Chaos Temple. Xing Hui was a little surprised to see Lai Wuang enter the Chaos Temple in front of him. Although the cultivators who entered the Chaos Temple were not completely unaware of the outside world, their senses would be greatly reduced. If someone suddenly attacked at this time, she would not be able to react. However, when he thought about it carefully, Lai Wuang's life and death were currently in his hands. Her actions seemed to show that she was extremely confident in him, which was understandable. Less than half an hour later, Lai Wuang's consciousness returned, but her expression was a little strange. The sect master's attitude seemed to have predicted all of this. Although she somewhat understood the sect master's thoughts, Lai Wuang's gaze immediately fell on Xing Hui as she truthfully replied, "I have already explained the whole story to our sect master. At the same time, I promised her that if the Jin Wu religion is in danger, you will immediately rush over to provide support. The sect master believes that the two of us have deep feelings for each other and is willing to help us and not marry into the Hunyuan heavenly sect." Oh? The problem with the Hunyuan heavenly sect has been resolved? The sect master should personally meet sect masters Wakunlun of the Hunyuan heavenly sect in the Chaos Temple, however. Lai Wuang glanced at Xing Hui. "Our sect master wants to see you." "See me?" "Naturally, I am the future sect master of the Jin Wu religion. I have announced to the outside world that the two of us have been in love for a long time, so the sect master naturally wants to see you and understand your character. But you should know that this is just an act directed by the two of us." "I know, but if you want to obtain the perfect inheritance of the great Sun Golden Crow art, you must obtain our sect master's trust." As Lai Wuang spoke, he carefully observed the changes in Xing Hui's emotions. When he saw that Xing Hui seemed to be faintly impatient, he took the initiative to say, "But don't worry, according to the sect masters and my description, although you have deep feelings for me, your temperament is rather unruly. I believe the sect master can understand this. If you weren't unruly, how could you have intercepted my Jin Wu religion's worship and fought against the two grand elders of the Hunyuan heavenly sect? Therefore, even if you don't want to see him for a while, I have a way to cover it up for you." "Very good, then continue to cover it up. When I want to see him, I will naturally see him." As Lai Wuang spoke, he looked at Xing Hui and said, "We need to be up to date at all times. Moreover, you need to know whether or not the Jin Wu religion is in real danger so that you can decide whether or not to act. For the convenience of communication, let's exchange the primal chaos imprints in our personal space in the Chaos Temple." Xing Hui nodded. The two immediately agreed on a location in the Chaos Temple and entered at the same time. After traveling for a while, Qing Su arrived at the place they had agreed on. Lai Wuang was already waiting there. The Lai Wuang in the Chaos Temple was vastly different from her real self, so much so that Xing Hui almost did not dare to recognize her. In reality, Lai Wuang liked to wear fiery red dresses that made her look incomparably sexy and hot, such as now. Her bright red dress perfectly displayed her slender and delicate waist, and the ribbon tied into a bow accentuated her sexy and enchanting collarbones. Her bright red dress fluttered in the wind like a ball of dazzling flame that made one want to throw themselves into it. But in the Chaos Temples, she was actually dressed in palace attire, like an elegant and noble princess that wrapped around her snow-white skin. But if one looked carefully, there was a different kind of beauty. Especially when Xing Hui was distracted to look at the fiery red Lai Wuang in front of him, and then compared it to her attire in the Chaos Temple, it formed a strong impact that made one unable to help but sigh in admiration. "Lai Wuang?" Xing Hui walked in front of Lai Wuang and said with some uncertainty, "In the Chaos Temple, we don't show our real names to others. You can just call me Ling Xiu." Xing Hui nodded. "I am Ming Pak Hui. This is the secret art of my personal space." Xing Hui memorized the secret art and gave his secret art to Lai Wuang. But at the same time that he gave his secret art to Lai Wuang, Xing Hui reminded her that his personal space, which was so vast that it could contain mountains and rivers, was divided into a small space to prevent his personal space from being exposed and making others associate it with his primal chaos grade. Pak Hui, as far as I know, your Aunt Nayland Fei seems to be related to one of the 10 great primal chaos organizations, Heaven's Dome. If there is a recommendation in Heaven's Dome, anyone who cultivates divine-grade astral energy can join. You should also be a member of Heaven's Dome, right? That's right. As soon as Tsing Hui answered, Lai Wuyang immediately asked impatiently, "That mysterious expert who helped you suppress the power of the eternal blazing sun's explosion is your master in Heaven's Dome." Master? Tsing Hui thought of the esteemed Master Zhu Zhao. He originally wanted to become a disciple of the esteemed Master Zhu Zhao, but for some reason, the esteemed Master Zhu Zhao didn't take a liking to him and didn't accept him as a disciple. But it didn't make sense to say that the esteemed Master Zhu Zhao had completely shut him out. If he had any questions about the Blazing Sun Sutra, the esteemed Master Zhu Zhao would answer them one by one. He was no different from a disciple. Thus, Tsing Hui didn't understand what the esteemed Master Zhu Zhao was thinking. These are things that you shouldn't ask. Lai Wuyang looked at Tsing Hui, as if she wanted to see something from his expression. But as Tsing Hui's figure faded away, she could only follow Tsing Hui out of the Primal Chaos Temple in disappointment. Looking at the current situation of Lai Wuyang and the Jin Wu religion, Tsing Hui suddenly had a thought. Since you know that I'm a member of Heaven's Dome, then you should understand that if we, the disciples of Heaven's Dome, shop in Heaven's Dome, we can usually enjoy discounted prices. For example, in the outside world, one can only buy level 4 upper grade or level 5 lower grade divine weapons with Dao Aura. In Heaven's Dome, we can buy level 5 upper grade divine weapons. Does your Jin Wu religion have any items that carry Dao? If you do, we can exchange them directly. Lai Wuyang shook her head. You're a bit late. In these years, our Jin Wu religion has collected many items that carry Dao. But not long ago, in order to establish my position as the first vice sect leader, the leader stopped the other vice sect leaders from coveting the position of the sect leader. He helped me raise the level of primal chaos to level 10, and used up all the items that carry Dao that the religion had accumulated. Tsing Hui couldn't help but feel regret when he heard this. What a pity, I have many treasures that have miraculous effects for the cultivation of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique. There are many Great Sun essences and Great Sun crystals among them. You have Great Sun crystals? Lai Wuyang was shocked when she heard Tsing Hui's words. Although the power contained in the Great Sun essences was pure, it was only effective for the cultivation of the immortality realm. But Great Sun crystals, even a Saint Realm expert could absorb and refine it. In terms of value, the two were not on the same level. That's right, I do have some Great Sun crystals. Tsing Hui said bluntly. He didn't have any now, but if he was willing to go to the Galaxy Chamber of Commerce in Heaven Wasteland, it wouldn't be difficult to buy 10 Great Sun crystals with 1 Dao Aura. Great Sun crystals. Lai Wuyang hesitated for a moment, then suddenly said, our treasury no longer has any items that carry Dao, but some elders may have some. I'll ask them for you. Chapter 261. If you do, I'll bring the Great Sun crystal directly to your Jin Wu religion. Lai Wuyang nodded. As he looked at the woman before him, Qing Su could not help but sigh emotionally at the mysteries of the world. Lai Wuyang, who hated him to the bone a few years ago, was actually able to stand before him calmly and discuss a deal with him now. However, this was also because Tsing Hui's strength had increased and the Jin Wu religion needed his help. Otherwise, the Jin Wu religion would never let the matter of him secretly learning the Great Sun Golden Crow art of the Jin Wu religion. I'll take my leave first. I hope you can come to our Jin Wu religion as soon as possible to help us kill the enemies of the Create Evolve Mysterious sect. Although the Hunyuan Heaven sect has sent 2 grand elders to our Jin Wu religion, if the Create Evolve Mysterious sect really wants to deal with our Jin Wu religion, we won't be able to resist. Don't worry, neither the Hunyuan Heaven sect nor the Limitless Sword sect will sit by and watch the Jin Wu religion be destroyed. Lai Wuyang shook his head. You're underestimating the power of the Create Evolve Mysterious sect. It's true that the Limitless Sword sect and the Hunyuan Heaven sect won't sit by and watch the Jinwu religion be destroyed, but I'm afraid that the Create Evolve Mysterious sect will plot against them and they won't be able to stop the Create Evolve Mysterious sect. You should know that the Green Lotus Sword sect was a powerful sect on the same level as the Hunyuan Heaven sect, the Six Paths of God and Demons, and the Qinkuan Holy Land. They had 4 saint experts in their sect and were prominent for a period of time. However, the Create Evolve Mysterious sect created a diversion and trapped the Limitless Sword sect's patriarchs with a formation. They then diverted their forces to launch a thunderous attack on the Green Lotus Sword sect, causing the Green Lotus Sword sect to almost be completely destroyed. Even after 100 years of recuperation, they still haven't recovered. Huh? Xing Hui was a little surprised to hear Lai Wuiyang's words. He did not expect the Green Lotus Sword sect to be so glorious. For saint experts. It should be said that the Hunyuan Heaven sect only had 4 saint stage ancestors on the surface. After obtaining the 5th level of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique, Xing Hui directly let Lai Wuiyang leave. The Jinwu religion was actually a breakthrough for him to expand the Life Alliance's influence inland. This was also the reason why he was willing to give Lai Wuiyang a chance to survive. Judging from the current situation, letting Lai Wuiyang go was clearly the right decision. Relying on his relationship with Lai Wuiyang to the public, he already had the foundation to enter the Jinwu religion. Next, he just had to wait for his cultivation to take another step forward and enter the battlefield between the Jinwu religion and the Creation Mysterious sect to save the Jinwu religion from destruction and become the savior of the Jinwu religion. Xing Hui's eyes flashed. The next moment, his figure leaped up, tore through the trees above his head, and directly rushed into the clouds, flying towards the sea at full speed. After obtaining the Great Sun Golden Crow technique and refining the Roaming Dragon Blood Transformation Powder, it was time to go to his own territory to cultivate in seclusion and use the power of the Torch Dragon's blood to rush to the peak of the Qingming stage. If he had been at the peak of the Qingming stage when fighting Yuan He and Qin Jin, the 2 grand elders of the Hunyuan Heaven sect, he would not have been suppressed so miserably. After all, the weapons in his hands, on his body, and on his feet were all grade 9 weapons without exception. After flying for less than half a day, Xing Hui seemed to sense something. The next moment, while reducing his speed, his consciousness directly projected into the Chaos Temple and appeared in his personal space. Not long after, the space opened, and Naylan Fei's figure directly appeared. Xing Hui, why did you leave the Hunyuan Heaven sect early in the morning with so many experts of the Life Alliance? Naylan Fei couldn't wait to ask when she saw Xing Hui. Xing Hui thought that Lai Wuiyang still needed to use his relationship with her to block the Hunyuan Heaven sect's questioning. What happened today would be known sooner or later, so he replied truthfully, I attacked the Jinwu religion's warship and took Lai Wuiyang away to prevent her from marrying the Hunyuan Heaven sect's chosen, Jiesu. Naylan Fei had already guessed from the reaction of Zhou Kunlun and the others that Xing Hui must have done something big. Now that she heard him admit it, her eyes widened. You took away the Jinwu religion's saintess Lai Wuiyang under the protection of our Hunyuan Heaven sect's 2 grand elders, Qin Zhen and Yuan He? Xing Hui nodded. You? How did you do it? Those are 2 grand elders, and their cultivation has reached the vision domain stage. They are peak figures who can manifest the battle physique, especially Grand Elder Qin Zhen. She has a unique treasure that can manifest the Heavenly Peng's sacred physique. Her battle strength is so strong that she can be ranked in the top 100 of the most famous desolate list in the Eastern Wilderness. You actually took away the Jinwu religion's saintess Lai Wuiyang under their noses? That's how I did it. Xing Hui shrugged. In other words, your strength is already not weaker than any Grand Elder at the 6th stage of the longevity stage? Even if that Grand Elder manifests the saint physique? That's right. Naylan Fei suddenly stared at Xing Hui strangely, as if she wanted to see through all his secrets. Xing Hui also realized that his terrifying speed of growth might arouse the suspicion of others in the Eastern Wilderness. After thinking for a while, he said, Senior Sister Naylan, you should know about esteemed Zhu Zhao in the Heavenly Dome, right? Of course, he is one of the 4 founders of the Heavenly Dome, and also the top expert in the heavenly dome. It is said that he is an invincible figure who has surpassed the saint realm. In the entire heavenly dome, even the swordsman who has the power of life and death in the heavenly dome is inferior to him. Esteemed Zhu Zhao came to the island where I live not long ago. Xing Hui said. Nalan Fei was so smart that she instantly guessed something. She could not hide the surprise in her eyes. You mean? Qing Su said ambiguously, even though the Reverend Zhu Zhao has yet to make an official announcement. If I have any questions regarding cultivation, I can directly enter the Reverend Zhu Zhao's palace and ask the Reverend Zhu Zhao for an answer personally. No wonder you can cultivate to such a level in just a few years. It is because of such an opportunity. Esteemed Zhu Zhao is the most powerful and the most ancient existence in the heavenly dome. Even my nominal master, immortal Zixiao, is 1 generation younger than him. With his careful guidance and patient cultivation, it is not difficult for you to step into the Vision Divine realm or even the Saint realm in a few years, let alone step into the Green Darkness realm. You and I know about this matter. Even if someone asks, you can at most mention a certain senior in the heavenly dome. You can't tell others the specific inside story. After all, esteemed Zhu Zhao has not announced it to the public, and I don't know what he is thinking. Xing Hui said. In fact, he could already guess from esteemed Zhu Zhao's reaction that he might not be worthy of esteemed Zhu Zhao's attention. But now, in order to dispel Nalan Fei's doubts, he had to use esteemed Zhu Zhao's name. As his cultivation continued to increase in the future, when esteemed Zhu Zhao's name gradually became less and less useful, he would probably have grown into a top figure in the entire Eastern Wilderness, or even Heaven Wasteland. At that time, there would be no need to explain too much. Of course I understand. I will never talk nonsense. Nalan Fei nodded with a serious face. She did not want to cause esteemed Zhu Zhao to be dissatisfied with Xing Hui's showing off because of her, and thus give up the idea of taking Xing Hui as a disciple. Xing Hui, the sect master has sent me a message, asking me to summon you back to the sect as soon as possible. When do you think you can come back? Summon me back to the sect? Xing Hui said, it stands to reason that Lai Wuyang should have already told the Jin Wu religion's sect master about the cause and effect of the matter. Nalan Fei seemed to see what Xing Hui was worried about and immediately said, don't worry, according to my inference, the sect master and the others shouldn't have summoned you over for a bad thing. Xing Hui also wanted to understand the Hunyuan Heaven sect's attitude towards him. After pondering for a while, he agreed, okay, but tell the sect master that I have injuries and need to recuperate. I will return to the sect in half a month. Okay, I will tell the sect master the truth. Xing Hui nodded. The main reason why he had to return to the Hunyuan Heaven sect in half a month was to wait for the cooldown of the divine art. With the saint technique, his battle prowess was not inferior to a saint stage expert. In addition, he had a grade 9 flying sword. Even if the Hunyuan Heaven sect encountered any danger, he would be able to easily escape. He, who had already become one of the top experts in the world, had such confidence. After the conversation with Nalan Fei, Xing Hui was in no hurry to return overseas. Otherwise, the round trip would take more than 10 days. After flying on his sword for a while, he found an ordinary-looking forest and descended. Then, he picked a piece of land and cleared out an empty space before releasing the holy winged draconic eagle. Ancient trees towered into the sky in the dense forest. Unless someone came to this area in person, even if a warship passed by, it would be impossible to detect the abnormalities in the forest. Although the sacred winged dragonhawk space was not large, it was still equivalent to a small private jet. It was fully equipped with daily necessities, and it was not difficult to use it for temporary rest. In the battle with Yuan He, Qin Zhen, and the others, Xing Hui had more than once unleashed his ultimate strength. Such extreme pressure gave him a new understanding of the control of his own qi. Now that he had calmed down and collected his thoughts, countless sparks of inspiration suddenly burst forth, and he constantly replayed and interpreted the various scenes of the battle. Before long, Qing Su had an epiphany. He was enlightened, and the circulation method of the true qi began to circulate naturally. The dense, pure true qi in his body circulated along a special trajectory in an extremely ingenious manner. As it circulated, the golden crow true qi and crimson yang true qi gathered and dispersed as he wished. Even when the two types of true qi converged in his body at times, they actually managed to coexist peacefully without any signs of devouring one another. This kind of precise control of qi that could be divided into 100 parts was often only seen in second-layer saint stage experts. In this way, after refining qi for 3 days, Xing Hui stopped circulating the Great Sun Golden Crow art and the Illuminating Sun Sutra at the same time, and then he breathed a sigh of relief with a smile on his face. After several months of bitter cultivation and continuous research, he had finally reached the small success stage of the qi into virtual qi. Chapter 262. The Method of Transforming Vital Energy into Virtual Energy. It was a secret method that did not have a significant effect before it was cultivated to the advanced level. Although Xing Hui had cultivated the secret method to the advanced level, in fact, it only improved his control of the vital energy in his body by a little. The increase in his combat strength was minimal. As for being able to operate the two types of vital energy at the same time without affecting each other, it only gave him more room for choice and more subtle changes in his means. No, in fact, it could not be considered subtle. At least, the effect of the red yang vital energy at the level of the green darkness realm was much more significant than that of the golden crow vital energy at the peak of the spirit and qi integration realm. Except for being able to turn the situation around with the help of the golden crow vital energy when fighting evenly with the enemy, there was no other special effect. For many practitioners, cultivating two bloodlines at the same time was to use a bloodline with weak potential to assist a bloodline with strong potential at a certain critical moment, so that the bloodline with strong potential would undergo a qualitative change and naturally be promoted to a higher realm. It was just like Qing Su. If he was willing to give up on the Golden Crow bloodline or the Seraphic Dragon bloodline and use the power of the other bloodline, he would definitely be able to make the other bloodline even purer. It might even be able to break through his current realm of cultivation and reach an even higher peak. However, at present, his cultivation of both bloodlines had not reached the limit, so there was no need for him to use this method. Therefore, he still maintained the two bloodlines at the same time. The method of transforming vital energy into virtual energy has been cultivated, and the roaming dragon blood pill has also been cultivated. Next, Xing Hui turned his hand, and the torch dragon blood that was stored in a crystal Rubik's cube appeared in his hand. As he used the secret method to unlock it, a drop of the torch dragon blood contained in the crystal Rubik's cube immediately separated. Although this drop of torch dragon blood could not be regarded as blood essence, it was after all an invincible creature in the divine realm. Even if it was just a drop of ordinary blood, the pressure it contained was still extremely terrifying. Even though Xing Hui's cultivation had broken through to the green darkness realm, he still felt a sense of difficulty in breathing in front of this drop of blood. This showed how powerful the torch dragon that had reached this realm was. As expected of one of the most mysterious divine beasts, Xing Hui took a deep breath and separated a portion of the roaming dragon blood transformation elixir that he had just refined. Then he directly refined the drop of torch dragon blood into this portion of roaming dragon blood transformation elixir. After that, he adjusted his essence, energy, and spirit. When his essence reached its peak, he swallowed this portion of roaming dragon blood transformation elixir without hesitation. The wandering dragon blood transformation powder could purify the medicinal efficacy of the candle dragon blood transformation powder and make its effects gentler. But even so, when the candle dragon blood transformation powder, wrapped in the wandering dragon blood transformation powder, was refined in Xing Hui's body, it was like a dazzling sun that suddenly exploded in his body. Endless blazing power surged and spread throughout his body, constantly strengthening his physical talent and transforming him as much as possible into the candle dragon divine beast. The energy in the torch dragon blood is dissipating too quickly. After refining for less than a moment, Xing Hui's expression changed. Even with the help of the wandering dragon blood transformation powder, to neutralize and refine the candle dragon blood transformation powder. The power that erupted from the blood of a divine realm creature was still far from what Xing Hui could easily absorb. This drop of candle dragon blood, which had a great chance of pushing his cultivation to the late stage of the green hell realm, actually dissipated more than half of its power because Xing Hui could not absorb it in time. As a result, he could only watch helplessly as his opportunity was quickly missed. Divine soul of the candle dragon blood, come out. Seeing that this drop of candle dragon blood might not be able to help him break through to the middle stage of the green hell realm, Xing Hui could not care about anything else. The candle dragon blood, in his spiritual world, suddenly appeared. The powerful spiritual power swept through his body like a torrent, carrying the power of the candle dragon blood. It constantly penetrated his body and changed his physique, making his body more compatible with heaven and earth. This method consumed a lot of spiritual power. If he was not careful, it might even damage his spiritual power. However, Xing Hui's recovery characteristics had already reached the 6th level. With a strong foundation, he did not care about the possible bad consequences. He allowed the candle dragon blood's spiritual power to merge with his spiritual essence to digest the power of the candle dragon blood, and do his best to break through to the middle stage of the green hell realm. In this way, after a day, when the power of this drop of candle dragon blood completely dissipated, Xing Hui's cultivation realm had also broken through the threshold of the early stage of the green hell realm with great difficulty and entered the middle stage of the green hell realm. Feeling that the essential qi in his body was more compatible with heaven and earth, Xing Hui breathed a sigh of relief. My spiritual level is too low. Xing Hui looked inside himself and had to face the problem he was facing at the moment. Spiritual level. Yes, it was the spiritual level. Since his spiritual level had reached the 61st level with the help of the refining God Pavilion, it had not improved much. The 61st level of spiritual level was not weaker than any expert of the prominent divine realm. In the entire green hell realm, there were only a handful of people whose spiritual level was comparable to his. However, don't forget that he cultivated the bloodline of a divine beast. If he wanted to wield the power of a divine beast as a human, the requirements on his body would increase by several times. Previously, when Qing Su attempted to break through, he would often need his mental strength to be 10 levels higher than his original realm before he could succeed, but now, although the 61st level of spiritual level could allow him to enter the middle stage of the green hell realm, he already felt a little strained when he operated his essential qi. It was like a martial artist whose arm strength allowed him to wield a 30 kilograms long spear. If he forced himself to wield a 40 kilograms long spear, his strength and lethality might increase, but his agility and physical exhaustion would be seriously affected. In the end, his combat power might decrease instead of increasing. This was the problem that Xing Hui was about to face. The middle stage of the green hell realm was still okay, but if he wanted to break through to the late stage of the green hell realm, in that case, the divine grade golden crow vital energy and crimson yang vital energy would be a disaster for him. The number of Taoist rhymes in my body has already reached 103. It sounds like a lot, but if I plan to use the sword essence contained in the broken sword to refine my mind, I will need to use the primordial spirit qi. However, the price of each primordial spirit qi is usually 15 or even 20 Taoist rhymes. 103 Taoist rhymes is simply not enough. Xing Hui rubbed between his eyebrows. Originally, he thought that he could go to the infinite wasteland to squander the 103 Taoist connotations. However, if he really wanted to use the sword essence in the broken sword to refine his spiritual level, he would need at least 5 or 6 portions of qi of primordial spirit to refine his spiritual level to the 70th level. Even if one portion of qi of primordial spirit was priced at 15 Taoist connotations, it would still be enough for him to squander the remaining Taoist connotations. I've already collected all the Taoist connotations overseas. With the foundation of the 10 great sacred sects, I can't openly intervene in the war situation inland for the time being. So, Xing Hui immediately turned his attention to the other continents. Or rather, to trade across continents. To trade across continents, The first thing he needed was a son of chaos who trusted him enough and was willing to give his spiritual imprint to him. It looks like I'll have to form my own chaos organization, Tsing Hui muttered to himself. The next moment, his consciousness appeared in the Chaos Temple and opened up an area in his vast personal space. He then summoned Lord Zhenhai, Ling Yu, and even all the Sons of Chaos, including Yan Huang and Xan Long. Not long after, all the cultivators under Tsing Hui who were in the Chaos level appeared in this space at the same time. When they saw Tsing Hui appear, they hurriedly bowed to Tsing Hui. "Greetings, Alliance Master." Tsing Hui nodded and glanced at them one by one. "Some of you have just joined the Life Alliance not long ago, while some of you have been following me since I was weak. Based on the speed of my growth over the years, all of you have speculated that I might be the reincarnation of a mighty figure or the disciple of a top figure." Ling Yu suddenly raised her head and looked at Tsing Hui with shock in her eyes. The others kept sizing up Tsing Hui. Could it be that the most mysterious Alliance Master of the Life Alliance was finally going to reveal his true identity to the public? "I can't answer some of your questions due to special reasons, but there's one thing I can reveal to you. My background is indeed far beyond what you can imagine. The remarkable abilities of the person behind me are also beyond the limits of your imagination." Remarkable abilities? Mighty figure? Could it be that there's a mighty figure behind the Alliance Master? Oh my God! No wonder the Alliance Master could take out so many top-notch divine weapons at once. It's because he has the support of a mighty figure behind him. To a mighty figure, divine weapons of level 5 and level 6 are nothing. He can even easily take out a large portion of level 7 and level 8 divine weapons. As Tsing Hui revealed his background, the crowd instantly exclaimed in surprise. Ling Yu, on the other hand, looked as if she already knew. The person behind Tsing Hui was not just a mighty figure. He was an invincible being who stood at the peak of the entire Infinite Region's experts and was beyond the saint level. A mighty figure? There were more than one or two mighty figures among his disciples. This time, I've been asked by the mysterious person behind me to set up a chamber of commerce. The purpose of this chamber of commerce is to use the Chaos Temple as a base to contact cultivators from all over the world and exchange divine weapons for Taoist rhymes so that the mysterious person can collect enough Taoist rhymes for him. This kind of thing was not rare in the Chaos Temple. There were many experts in the Chaos Temple who had the incarnation technique. They would use the incarnation technique to obtain enough Taoist rhymes for their daily expenses and daily cultivation. However, although the incarnation technique these cultivators used could impart techniques to exchange for Taoist rhymes, they could not bring divine weapons with them. There were only a handful of people who could bring divine weapons to other continents to trade. The foundation of the Chamber of Commerce is the Chaos Temple, and I've named it the Chaos Element Chamber of Commerce. You will be the first batch of members of the Chaos Element Chamber of Commerce. What you need to do is to advertise the ability of the Chamber of Commerce as much as possible. At the same time, choose a batch of excellent buyers so that I can report to the mysterious person and let him choose. I can promise you that any customer who completes the transaction will receive a level 6 divine weapon as a reward. If the customer is excellent, I can even give you a level 6 armor or a level 6 flying sword as a reward. Therefore, those who don't have a level 6 divine weapon, please do your best to display your ability. Chapter 263. Tsing Hui's words stirred up everyone present. Their faces were filled with excitement. A level 6 divine weapon. As long as the person I choose is chosen by the Almighty behind the Alliance leader, they will be rewarded with a level 6 divine weapon. Oh my God! I'm only at the true energy realm. If I can obtain a level 6 divine weapon, even a spirit and Chiyunizan expert might be killed by me if they're not careful. Elder Yuda of the Create Evolve Mysterious sect massacred my entire sect and killed my entire family. However, because he was from a large sect and had the cultivation of divine Chiyunizan stage, even though my heart was filled with hatred, I could only hide far away in the sea and struggle at death's door, allowing him to do whatever he wanted. However, if I could obtain a level 6 divine weapon, it would no longer be an extravagant hope for me to avenge my family. Ching Su nodded in satisfaction when he saw their reactions. Not only will I announce this matter here, but I'll also announce it in our Life Moon Alliance. As a matter of fact, once the conditions allow, I'll even announce this matter. If anyone, even if they're not from our Life Moon Alliance, can bring in good customers for our Chaotic Essence Association, I'll be generous with their rewards. Moreover, this is the base I've established, so I'll make public the method to enter this space. I'll also prepare some jade talismans here, so anyone who finds a suitable customer can leave a message here. I'll check and choose regularly, and once the selection is successful, a god artifact will be awarded. We will do our best to work for the Alliance leader. Okay, let's do that. Remember the method. After Tsing Hui finished speaking, he passed the method to everyone present. Everyone who received the method immediately dispersed to look for customers that could satisfy the mysterious Almighty. Only Xen Long remained in the same place and waited. Seeing that everyone had dispersed, Xen Long stepped forward and bowed. Greetings, Alliance leader. Xen Long, you can be considered an old man by my side. Now, you are collecting information for me in the Eastern Sun Empire. But now, it doesn't matter whether you stay in the Eastern Sun Empire or not. If you want to come back or go to the Hunyuan Heaven sect, it's up to you. Moreover, you don't need to be so formal in front of me. Tsing Hui said with a faint smile. Seeing Tsing Hui's friendly attitude, Xen Long was extremely moved. Although he was the first son of chaos to rely on Tsing Hui, and was later ordered to lurk in the Eastern Sun Empire to collect information about the Hunyuan Heaven sect for Tsing Hui, even with the cultivation resources of the Life Alliance, he had only cultivated to the true Qi stage after several years. With such a weak cultivation base, he wasn't even qualified to be a guard under Tsing Hui, but even so, Tsing Hui's attitude towards him was still the same, which naturally moved Xen Long. At this moment, he couldn't help but rejoice that joining Tsing Hui was the best decision he had ever made in his life. Alliance leader, I've only come into contact with low-level cultivators. However, by chance, I met a cultivator. This cultivator's cultivation base was relatively low, only at the true energy realm. Therefore, he was extremely insecure when it came to trading. He was lucky enough to obtain a Taoist vessel that contained more than 30 points of Taoist rhyme, but he had never traded it away. If Alliance leader needs it, I can immediately call him over. Oh? More than 30 points of Taoist rhyme? Tsing Hui's eyes lit up. The requirements of low-level cultivators naturally wouldn't be too high. He estimated that he would only need to pay 1 or 2 points of Taoist rhyme. 1 or 2 points of Taoist rhyme, plus the weak cooldown of the incarnation technique, would be able to obtain at least 30 points in return. Tsing Hui had already decided. Call him over. Xen Long immediately retreated. Originally, I planned to put the next point of chaos into comprehension, and use the spark of inspiration that burst forth when my comprehension was upgraded to the 6th stage to the initial stage. However, because of the battle with Yuan He and Qin Jin, the two great elders of the Hunyuan Heaven sect, I caught the opportunity to reach the initial stage. Since I've already cultivated this secret technique to the initial stage, this point of comprehension is no longer necessary. In order to ensure that I can continuously obtain more Taoist vessels through trading, the incarnation technique will have to be upgraded by another stage. Tsing Hui glanced at his character model and muttered to himself. His incarnation technique had now reached the 2nd stage. Even if his essence, Qi, and spirit were inferior to that of top experts, he could rely on the recovery characteristics of the 6th stage to get through the weakened state in a month and fully recover in 3 months. If he could upgrade the incarnation technique to the 3rd stage, the weakened state would be shortened to 10 days, and the full recovery time would also be shortened to 1 month. Alliance Master, Yu Yen is here. Xen Long soon reappeared in Tsing Hui's personal space, bringing with him an ordinary-looking woman who looked to be in her 20s. Although the woman stood in front of Tsing Hui, there was a trace of caution in her expression, and she looked at Tsing Hui with a sizing-up gaze. If it were an ordinary expert, they would have already driven her away with a flick of their sleeves, but Tsing Hui had only recently become a top expert, and had not developed the mentality of a top expert. He didn't mind the gaze of the woman named Yu Yen, and just asked, How many Taoist rhymes do you have on you? What divine weapons and world treasures do you want to exchange for? Yu Yen hesitated for a moment. Although she still maintained her vigilance, she still said, "The world treasures I have on me contain 34 Taoist rhymes. As for the things I want to exchange, I've spent some time studying the world treasures that are useful to my four-eyed bird bloodline, and according to the world treasures I have on me, I've already made a list." Xing Hui nodded to Xen Long, and Xen Long immediately stepped forward to receive the list and respectfully handed it to Xing Hui. Xing Hui glanced at the list. The things on it couldn't be considered precious, but there were too many types, and the number was too complicated. Xing Hui shook his head. The people behind our Primordial Trade Union might not spend so much effort to collect these things for you. Make it simple. Make it simple, Yu Yen clenched her teeth. I need the corpse of a four-eyed bird, and it can't be lower than a saint. Although the four-eyed bird could be considered a saint beast, it belonged to the weakest group of saint beasts. Usually, those who wanted to cultivate the phoenix bloodline, vermilion bird bloodline, or blue luan bloodline would encounter problems, and would have to take a step back and rely on world treasures to cultivate the bloodline between spirit beast and saint beast. A corpse of a four-eyed bird that was not lower than a saint could easily be exchanged for a level 7 divine weapon in the eastern wilderness. Which continent are you from? I need to know the prices of your continent. I'm from the Chongzhen continent. Chongzhen. Fortunately, Xen Long was prepared for this. He immediately went up and explained, Alliance Master, the Chongzhen continent is a small continent, so it's completely unknown in the world, which is why you don't know about it. This continent is around 29 million kilometers away from Heaven Wasteland, but it's not far from our eastern wasteland, only 6 million kilometers away. If you take a Class 6 warship, you'll be able to reach it in less than 2 years. Moreover, there aren't any particularly powerful sects on that continent, so there's no serious monopoly. The prices there are even slightly higher than our eastern wasteland. A single strand of aura can usually be exchanged for a mid-class 5-god artifact, and if you trade with those large merchant associations, you can even get a high-class 5-god artifact. Oh, Xing Hui nodded. Heaven Wasteland Domain was the center of the world left behind after the destruction of the Divine Wilderness, and was also the largest continent in the world. Heaven Wasteland Domain had a department that specialized in mapping out the geographical distribution, and the continents outside Heaven Wasteland Domain were divided into large, medium, and small continents. A continent with more than 10 powerful experts was a large continent, and a continent with more than 10 saint experts was a medium continent. As for small continents, they generally referred to those without saint experts, or those with less than 10 saint experts. For example, the Eastern Wilderness where Xing Hui was from, with more than 10 saint experts, was a medium continent, but it was relatively weak among the medium continents. After all, some of the top medium continents often had 1 or 2 powerful experts personally overseeing them. 6 million kilometers. Xing Hui thought for a moment, then nodded slightly. I can help you accept. According to the prices of your Chongzhen continent, the corpse of a saint expert Chongzhen bird will be worth 30 Dao auras. How about it? I accept. Yu Yen immediately nodded and then added, I want to exchange the remaining 4 Dao auras for a level 5 middle divine weapon. Xing Hui frowned. A level 5 middle divine weapon, even with the prices of the Chongzhen continent, was worth more than 4 Dao auras. I can accept a level 5 lower divine weapon, but a level 5 middle divine weapon is too high. I'm willing to make up for 4 Dao auras. Xing Hui glanced at Yu Yen, which immediately made Yu Yen shrink her neck. It seemed that the number of Taoist rhymes on this woman was not only 34 as she had said. What kind of opportunity did she get to possess so many Taoist rhymes? No wonder she was so cautious when dealing with anyone and everything. She would rather miss a deal than exchange with someone she could not trust. Xen Long glanced at Yu Yen, and probably also understood this point. He immediately advised, Yu Yen, you can completely trust our alliance master. He is a heaven's pride in the firmament domain, and there is no need for him to deceive his elders for a few dozen Dao auras. Alright, level 8 Dao auras it is. A Saint Realm 4 Bright Bird's corpse, and a level 5 middle divine weapon. The deal is up to you. I won't force it. Xing Hui faintly said, I will pass the message to the mysterious expert behind me. If he is here, he will give a reply in a moment. I ask for senior's understanding. Yu Yen gave a slight bow with an apprehensive expression. Xing Hui nodded. Those cultivators who did not have enough cultivation but exposed themselves as sons of primal chaos had already died. If not for the fact that Xing Hui had already reached the blue underworld realm, and his battle strength was not weaker than a vision domain great elder, how could he easily reveal the divine technique to others? Even if he now had the battle strength of a vision domain expert, he was trying his best to conceal the fact that his primal chaos realm had already reached the level 27th divine weapon. He even did not hesitate to assume that a groundless mysterious senior was doing business with the primal chaos chamber of commerce. Therefore, he was very understanding of Yu Yan's cautious approach. After a moment, he spoke again. He has already agreed. 3 months later, he will head to the Heavy Truth continent. When I need a spiritual imprint, I will inform you. Hearing this, Yu Yan slightly breathed a sigh of relief and respectfully bowed to Xing Hui. Many thanks, Alliance Master. Junior will respectfully await the arrival of that senior in 3 months. Chapter 264. The Hunyuan Heaven Sect. Bei Zhongguang's Zhuguang Peak. As the first deputy sect master of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect, Bei Zhongguang was blessed with exceptional resources. The peak he resided on was also the largest area in the entire central district of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect. The peak was filled with courtyards and groups of palaces. The number of disciples, attendants, and followers living on the peak numbered in the tens of thousands. From time to time, powerful auras of the Azure Underworld stage would appear. This was the source of Bei Zhongguang's confidence as the first vice-sect leader. If such a force were to branch out from the Hunyuan Heaven Sect, it would be able to dominate a region no matter where it went. It could even become the ruler of a relatively small continent. At this moment, the elder of the distant fire hall, Zhuri, was respectfully bowing to Bei Zhongguang on Bei Zhongguang's Zhuguang Peak. His words were filled with gratitude. If it weren't for Sect Master Bei's rescue, I really don't know what would have happened to me if I had fallen into that kid's hands. Sect Master Bei's help is no less than a life-saving grace to me. From now on, if you have any orders, I, Zhuri, will be at your beck and call without hesitation. Cho Xing Hui relied on the authority given to him by Sect Master to act tyrannically in our Hunyuan Heaven Sect and persecuted our elders. He simply doesn't put the rules and regulations of our Hunyuan Heaven Sect in his eyes. Others are afraid of the power of the Life Alliance behind him and are unwilling to become enemies with him, but I, Bei Zhongguang, am not afraid. Not to mention, junior sister Yutong has interceded for you. From now on, you will stay on my Zhuguang Peak and don't need to pay attention to the orders of the Sea Calming Hall. I want to see if he has the guts to act presumptuously on my Zhuguang Peak. Bei Zhongguang's expression was indifferent, but there was an indescribable confidence in his words. Thank you, Sect Master Bei. Thank you, Sect Master Bei. How great would it be if our Hunyuan Heaven Sect could be led by Sect Master Bei? Then, we wouldn't have to worry about using external forces to bully and humiliate us elders in the sect. Zhuri said with a face full of regret. When Bei Chonghua heard Zhuri's words, he stood up for him and said, Elder Zhuri, don't worry. This little thief is so presumptuous in our Hunyuan Heaven Sect. Many people in the Hunyuan Heaven Sect don't like him. Just like his Aunt Nalan Fei's Qinglan Peak Summit assembly not long ago, almost no disciples in the sect congratulated her. From this, it can be seen that his actions in the sect have already angered the heavens. It won't be long before the entire Hunyuan Heaven Sect will no longer have a place for him. What young Master Bei Chonghua said is true. Those who are headstrong and self-opinionated will eventually be caught in their own trap. Elder Zhuri hastily agreed. Bei Chongguang glanced at Elder Zhuri and then at Lan Yutong, who was like a little bird beside Bei Chonghua. Zhuri, I heard that you have good alchemy skills. Right now, junior apprentice Sister Yutong's cultivation is still weak. She urgently needs enough dawn to break through to the spirit refining realm as soon as possible, or even the spirit and chi unity realm. You will follow junior apprentice Sister Yutong and help her refine Dawn to assist her in her cultivation. Thank you, big brother. I believe that Elder Juri and Yutong will get along well. Erashur Yudo quickly stepped forward and bowed. Elder Juri looked at Erashur Yudo. Although he was actually under the control of his former disciple and had to listen to his orders, it was undoubtedly much better than being seconded to the calming sea palace to work under Tsing Hui. One was losing face, and the other was possibly losing his life. Juri naturally knew which was more important. Just as Bei Zhongguang accepted Juri and arranged for him to stay at his Juguang Peak, a disciple hurriedly reported from below, "Sect Master, Great Elder Yuanju invites you to discuss something." Great Elder Yuanju? Bei Zhongguang was slightly startled, but then he nodded with a solemn expression. "Okay, I'll go over now." Although there were saint-level ancestors in Hunyuan Heaven Sect, they were usually in closed-door training and almost never showed up. They were the last guardian force of Hunyuan Heaven Sect. Unless there was an all-out war with the forces of the 10 great sacred sects, or the sect was in a life-and-death situation, they would not easily show up. Even Bei Zhongguang, as the first deputy sect master, had only seen the faces of a few ancestors and had never had any relationship with them. Since Bei Zhongguang couldn't reach the Grand Ancestors level, if he wanted to become the sect leader, he needed to rope in the various Grand Elders of the Grand Elder Council. Yuanju was one of the 3 great elders of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect's Great Elders Association who publicly supported him. Bei Zhongguang didn't dare to neglect this person who could determine whether he could sit on the sovereign's throne in the future. He immediately said to Juri, "You can stay on my Juguang Peak with peace of mind. As long as I'm here, Zhuo Qingshu won't dare to act presumptuously on my peak even if he has 1,000 guts. If he really dares to come, I'll make sure he won't be able to return. Therefore, you can rest easy as long as you don't run down the mountain." "Yes, from now on I will stay on the peak and refine pills day and night for Sect Master Bei. I will contribute my insignificant strength to the growth of Juguang Peak." Elder Juri said modestly, bowing his head extremely low. Bei Zhongguang nodded and followed the disciple, heading straight to Great Elder Yuanju's peak. "Did you see that? Although my brother hasn't won the sect master's throne, he is on good terms with several great elders of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect's Great Elders Association. Among them, Elder Yuanju is one of the great elders who publicly supports my brother. Do you know why the sect master hasn't announced that he will directly appoint Holy Sun Jiesu as the next sect master after he broke through to the Qingming stage? It's because my brother has the strong support of the great elders behind him. Even the sect master has to consider whether or not appointing Jiesu as the future sect master before he has made any great contributions to the sect will cause my brother's dissatisfaction." Bei Zhonghua said proudly to Elder Juri as he watched Bei Zhongguang head to Elder Yuanju's peak. Yes, I understand. Even the sect master doesn't dare to easily touch Sect Master Bei. He has to consider Sect Master Bei's attitude when he acts, let alone Cho Tsing Hui, a mere deputy hall master. I won't have to worry about anything if I stay on Sect Master Bei's peak." "That's right. Then, won't we all have to stay on Big Brother's Juguang Peak in the future?" Erashur Yudo couldn't help but worry when she heard Bei Zhonghua's words. "Don't worry, junior sister Yutong." Bei Zhonghua hurriedly comforted her. "Cho Tsing Hui doesn't know what's good for him and dares to offend my brother. My brother will soon seize the opportunity to completely topple him. He won't be proud for long. Just wait and see. When Cho Tsing Hui is severely punished and even his cultivation base is crippled and expelled from the sect, it won't be difficult for you to personally deal with him and avenge the humiliation of the past." Erashur Yudo breathed a sigh of relief when she heard this, but she still wore a worried expression. "I'm afraid this matter will bring trouble to Big Brother." Bei Zhonghua sneered. "Trouble? What trouble can a little deputy hall master be considered? With my big brother's current status in the Hunyuan Heaven Sect, apart from the Supreme Elders, Sect Master, Chosen Jiesu, and several ancestors, who else in the entire Hunyuan Heaven Sect can cause trouble for him? If he doesn't find trouble with others, others should thank Buddha. Cho Tsing Hui doesn't have the qualifications to become Big Brother's trouble." A smile finally appeared on Erashur Yuto's beautiful face. "Then I'm relieved." At this moment, Bei Zhonghua, who claimed to be omnipotent and unafraid of the Hunyuan Heaven sect, was rushing to Elder Yuanju's mountain peak at the fastest speed. Apart from chosen Jiesu, sect masters Wakunlun, the Grand Elders, and the first deputy sect master, Bei Zhongguang. As a supreme elder of the Hunyuan Heaven sect, Elder Yuanjue's peak was even better than Bei Zhongguang's. Perhaps the number of buildings and palaces on his peak couldn't be compared to Bei Zhongguang's, but the experts hidden within were above Bei Zhongguang's. In particular, the spirit flowers and herbs planted on the peak, as well as the immortal birds and spirit beasts cultivated, were beyond the imagination of ordinary people. If these foundations were completely transformed into battle strength, it wouldn't be difficult to cultivate several Qingming stage experts in a short period of time. Bei Zhongguang was famous in the Hunyuan Heaven sect, and it was rumored that he had a prominent saint stage expert working for him. However, such a prominent saint stage expert was ultimately unpresentable. Moreover, prominent saint stage experts in the outside world couldn't be compared to prominent saint stage experts in a top sect like the Hunyuan Heaven sect. Bei Zhongguang could only rely on the several supreme elders of the Hunyuan Heaven sect's Supreme Elder Council. Therefore, Bei Zhongguang, who was always calm and confident in the eyes of ordinary people, appeared to be very well-mannered and polite when he arrived at Supreme Elder Yuanjue's peak. Even the boy beside Elder Yuanjue was very polite. "Boy, may I know why Elder Yuanjue is looking for me? Please tell me so that I can make preparations." Bei Zhongguang followed behind the boy. He had already secretly handed over a piece of spirit crystal. A peerless spirit crystal was worth 1 to 200 ordinary spirit crystals. It wouldn't be difficult to buy a grade 5 divine weapon, but Bei Zhongguang had given it away so casually. It was clear that Bei Zhongguang was wealthy. Sect Master Bei is too polite. "I don't know about this matter, but the elder summoned you because he learned that you stopped Elder Zhuri, who was supposed to be on loan to the Sea Suppressing Hall, and even took him into Ju Guang Peak. Therefore, I believe that this matter should be related to Elder Zhuri, who was supposed to be on loan to the Sea Suppressing Hall." Sea Suppressing Hall? Elder Zhuri? Bei Zhongguang was slightly taken aback and became even more confused. There were hundreds of palaces of various sizes in the Hunyuan Heaven sect. In the small palaces, there were only 2 hall masters and 1 deputy hall master. In the large palaces, there were more than 10 deputy hall masters. As for elders, there were even more. With Grand Elder Yuanju's status, how could a mere vice hall master and an elder's matter attract his attention? "I don't know the details. The elder didn't mention it to me at all." Speaking of this, the boy seemed to have thought of something. "Oh, that's right. A day ago, the sect held a meeting of the Supreme Elders. Although not all of the Supreme Elders attended, there were 12 Supreme Elders, accounting for 70% of the total. After a preliminary discussion, the Supreme Elders passed a proposal that our Hunyuan Heaven sect may have a new Supreme Elder. I don't know if it has anything to do with this matter." "A new Grand Supreme Elder?" Bei Zhongguang was taken aback. This was no small matter. A Supreme Elder was a top figure who could influence the decision-making of the Hunyuan Heaven sect. In the case where the several ancestors did not intervene in the sect's affairs, the decisions made by the Supreme Elders were equivalent to the future development direction of the Hunyuan Heaven sect. Even the selection of the next sect master of the Hunyuan Heaven sect was decided by the Supreme Elders. Could it be that Supreme Elder Yuanjue summoned me to curry favor with that Supreme Elder and ask for his support? It must be so. At present, even though Jiesu has broken through to the Green Hell realm, due to his arrogance, he is rather arrogant. So far, even though he has obtained the support of many Grand Elders, there are only 5 who have clearly expressed their support. If I can pull this newly promoted Grand Elder to support me, causing the number of Grand Elders supporting me to reach 4, I might not have no hope of competing with Jiesu. Thinking of this, Bei Zhongguang's heart suddenly burned with passion. The sect master's throne, which had been gradually drifting away because of Jiesu's sudden appearance, seemed to be getting closer to him. Chapter 265. Greetings, Elder Yuanju. In Elder Yuanju's study, Bei Chongguang hurriedly stepped forward and respectfully bowed. Chongguang, you're finally here. I came to find you today because I have something important to tell you. A day ago, our Hunyuan Heaven sect held a meeting of the Supreme Elders. There were 12 Supreme Elders present, accounting for half of the total number of Supreme Elders. The decision we made was based on the sect's rules and regulations. During the meeting, we unanimously agreed to add a new member to our Supreme Elder Council and become the new Supreme Elder of our Hunyuan Heaven sect. Bei Chongguang tactfully said, "Please rest assured, Elder Yuan Ju, I know what to do." Currently, Duan Su has yet to return, and the new Supreme Elder shouldn't have any interest with us. If we can take this opportunity to win him over, it will definitely give us a greater chance of ruling the Hunyuan Heaven sect in the future. Elder Yuan Ju glanced at Bei Chongguang and nodded with some relief. Very good, you didn't think so highly of me and wholeheartedly supported you. As the saying goes, those who achieve great things don't care about trifles. I originally thought that because of the special status of the new Supreme Elder and the fact that he has a small conflict with you, it would be embarrassing for you to go and win him over. However, it is commendable that you were able to see the pros and cons of this matter at the first moment. Your breadth of mind and boldness is far from what Duan Su can compare to. I believe that the next sect master of our Hunyuan Heaven sect will be none other than you. When Bei Zhongguang heard Elder Yuan Ju's words, he immediately felt that something was not quite right. The new Supreme Elder had a special status? He had a small conflict with him? For a moment, Bei Chongguang couldn't help but think hard. Elder, I wonder who the new Supreme Elder is? Currently, the top 10 Hall Masters of our Hunyuan Heaven sect have all reached the peak of the Qingming stage and have hopes of condensing a saint body and stepping into the Vision Domain stage. However, I have always tried my best to maintain a good relationship with these Hall Masters and have never formed any grudges with them. Sometimes, during festivals, I would even ask my subordinates to give them generous gifts to maintain friendly relations. Among these people, there shouldn't be any conflict with me, right? Hall Master? The person who was promoted to Grand Elder this time wasn't one of the top 10 Hall Masters of our Hunyuan Heaven sect, but a newly established Vice Hall Master. I believe you've heard of this Vice Hall Master before. He's the Alliance Master of the Life Moon Alliance, the overseas faction that recently surrendered to our Hunyuan Heaven sect, Cho Tsinghui. Elder Yuan Ju said slowly. However, as soon as the words Cho Tsinghui were mentioned, Bei Zhongguang, who was still thinking about how to gain the favor of the new Supreme Elder, suddenly cried out in shock, "What? The Vice Hall Master of the Sea-Suppressing Palace, Cho Tsinghui?" That's right. This newly promoted Grand Elder is the Vice Hall Master of the Sea-Suppressing Palace, Cho Tsinghui. How is that possible? Didn't Cho Tsinghui just join our Hunyuan Heaven sect? Even if he has the power of the Life Moon Alliance behind him, letting him become a Hall Master is already the limit. How could he be directly promoted to the Grand Elder Council and become a Grand Elder of our Hunyuan Heaven sect? Elder, could there be a mistake in this matter? Bei Zhongguang asked in disbelief, a trace of panic in his voice. Elder Yuan Ju was somewhat dissatisfied with Bei Zhongguang's questioning words. He snorted softly and said, "The 12 of us Grand Elders, including the sect master, spent half a day discussing in detail and decided to promote the former Vice Hall Master of the Sea-Suppressing Palace, Cho Tsinghui, to the 19th Grand Elder of our Hunyuan Heaven sect's Grand Elder Council. How could this be false?" "No, please forgive me, Elder. I didn't mean to doubt Elder's words. It's just that," Bei Zhongguang was somewhat at a loss. A mere Vice Hall Master of the Sea-Suppressing Palace, who had joined the Hunyuan Heaven sect for less than a month, was directly promoted to a Grand Elder of the Grand Elder Council? He simply couldn't react to such a huge and sudden change. This matter is absolutely true. I know that you and Hall Master Cho Tsinghui, no, Elder Cho Tsinghui had some small conflicts because of your good-for-nothing brother. You even secretly wanted to prevent Cho Tsinghui from joining our Hunyuan Heaven sect's Grand Elder Council, but when I learned of the reason why the sect master and the others allowed him to become a Grand Elder, after some consideration, I had no choice but to agree and express my approval. Otherwise, It would be equivalent to our Hunyuan Heaven sect cutting off our own arm. Therefore, Elder Cho Tsing-Hui's entry into the Grand Elder Council is already set in stone, and no one can change it. We only need to wait for him to return to our Hunyuan Heaven sect in a day or two, and this matter will be completely announced to the world and all the sects in the Eastern Wasteland will know. As Elder Yuanju spoke, he solemnly stared at Bei Zhongguang. Zhongguang, as far as I know, you and Grand Elder Cho Tsing-Hui only had some small conflicts, and it's nothing more than a loss of face. Now that Cho Tsing-Hui has become a Grand Elder of our Hunyuan Heaven Sect's Grand Elder Council, even if you have the status of a Vice Sect Master, it's nothing for a disciple like you to apologize and give in to him. When you arrived, you also said that a new Grand Elder doesn't have any interest in the other Vice Sect Masters. If we can take this opportunity to rope him in, it will greatly increase our chances of ruling the Hunyuan Heaven sect in the future. Therefore, this matter is not only related to your future, but also to whether the support I, Fa Dai, Yu Lang and the others will receive in the future. Do you understand? Seeing the solemn look on Elder Yuanju's face, Bei Zhongguang felt his heart tremble with fear. The reason why Elder Yuanju, Elder Fa Dai and Elder Yu Lang had spared no effort to support him and push him to the sect master's throne was because once he sat on the sect master's throne, the sect's resources would be slightly tilted towards the 3 Grand Elders in the future, so that they would have a chance to cultivate true Yuan and step into the Saint stage in the future. This point could be seen from the fact that there were 3 Vision Saint stage ancestors among the 8 Grand Elders who supported Zhuo Kunlun back then. If he were to offend a newly promoted Grand Supreme Elder just because of his so-called face, and forcefully push this Grand Supreme Elder, who originally had hopes of being pulled to his side, to the opposite side of him, the 3 Grand Elders would be extremely disappointed in him. Especially now that Jie Su had appeared out of nowhere, even if he was arrogant and unruly, he still could not hide his peerless appearance. At that time, the 3 Grand Elders would most likely abandon him and support Jie Su. Once the Grand Elders really did so, Jie Su would have the support of 8 or 9 Grand Elders, and the sect master's throne would no longer have any suspense. At that time, when Jie Su took the throne, what good would happen to him, the first vice sect master who had once competed with him for the sect master's throne? All the benefits and power he had now, and those followers who believed in his future potential and were willing to follow him around would vanish like smoke. He, Bei Zhongguang, would also be beaten back to his original state, reduced to the level of a hallmaster at best. Elder, I. A trace of pain and hesitation flashed across Bei Zhongguang's face. He was about to say something, but before he could say anything, he was interrupted by Elder Yuanju with a wave of his hand. Zhongguang, I have already said what I need to say to you. You should be able to see that although you have the support of me, Fa Dai, and Yu Lang, the 2 Grand Elders, in reality, you do not have much of an advantage in the competition with Jie Su. It can even be said that you are clearly at a disadvantage. After all, you have been stuck at the peak of the Green Hell realm for more than 10 years, and there is no hope of entering the Vision Saint stage in a short period of time. In this situation, the forces on our side have already become restless. Some of my subordinate elders, hall masters, and disciples have even faintly mentioned to me that they want us to change sides and make plans early. Otherwise, when Jie Su takes the sect master's throne, even if he cannot do anything to us, it is not difficult for him to reduce the amount of resources we can obtain greatly. Therefore, in this situation, it is inevitable that people will be moved, and we urgently need a strong support to raise the morale of our side. Do you understand? Bei Zhongguang thought about how he had talked with Cho Tsing-Hui not long ago, and how he had vowed to let Cho Tsing-Hui know the consequences of offending him, if he went to curry favor with him at this time. For a moment, he felt his face burning, and he had no face left. Don't think that Cho Tsing-Hui is just an ordinary Grand Elder. Elder Yuanju looked at Bei Zhongguang and said meaningfully, originally, with Cho Tsing-Hui's ability, even if he has the battle strength to suppress Yuan He and Qinjin, the 2 Grand Elders, it is not enough for the sect master and us Grand Elders to make an exception and take him into the Grand Elder Council before he has made any great contributions, but, from what I know, behind that Cho Tsing-Hui, There is a great background. It is very likely that he is a disciple of a mysterious almighty being. Battle strength to suppress Yuan He and Qin Zhen, the two grand elders? A disciple of a mysterious almighty being from another continent? An almighty being? The content of this sentence made Bei Zhongguang completely dumbfounded. Suppressing Yuan He and Qin Zhen, the two grand elders? Chou Tsinghui's strength was so terrifying? And his identity and backgrounds. An almighty being? As the first deputy sect master of the Hunyuan Heaven sect, he understood very well what the words almighty being meant. It was an invincible existence that could easily flatten the entire Hunyuan Heaven sect, and even the entire Eastern Wilderness. Even if the Hunyuan Heaven sect had recently joined Shadow Sword and become a part of Shadow Sword, if they dared to offend an almighty being, Shadow Sword would not hesitate to abandon them to appease that almighty being's anger. At this thought, Bei Zhongguang felt his voice tremble. This, elder, is what you said true? Chou Tsinghui really has an almighty background? Although it is not confirmed yet, but... Elder Yuanjue paused for a moment, and then said seriously, think carefully about Tsinghui's ability, and then think about his current age. If it weren't for the fact that he has an almighty backing him, how could he possibly be able to suppress two of our Hunyuan Heaven sect's grand elders at the age of 30? This. Bei Zhongguang's heart turned completely cold. Elder Yuanjue stepped forward and patted Bei Zhongguang's shoulder. Zhongguang, I've already told you the news. It's up to you to decide what to do. Jie Su is not in the sect, and this is your greatest opportunity. I hope you won't let us down. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.